Hello, everyone. Welcome to LOCKBEARD Phenomena number 90, Moon People, question mark. It's May 27th, 2023. Last few days, the internet here has been weaker than normal. Like you can't even watch YouTube videos really. I mean, it's been so bad, might as well turn it off. So if things get gummed up, just hang in there, or we might have to just quit. But it's been working fine today, but it's just like it's never really good. So I got to be careful how much I tax the system. Angel was here first, it looks like. Welcome. Icon says, but Reed Reed Timmer is who's Reed Timmer? Who's Reed Timmer? No one listened to each other. Calito. Danny's here. Greetings from South Carolina, he says. Not North Carolina, South Carolina. Icon says, Angel, yep, the lightning is getting good. He's chasing New Mexico. I have no idea what you're talking about there. No idea. So I don't know if y'all have heard about this. Did this guy say who's Reed Timmer? Yeah. I don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. Sorry, Icon. So these hoaxers, these people, like, they just believe some just BS that people are telling them all the time, and I'm like, it's people have always been this way. They just believe anything they see in a newspaper. A lot of people, they just believe it, and that's what happened here. The Great Moon Hoax of 1835. This is an interesting engineering. The birth of fake news. The Great Moon Hoax of 1835 was the most spectacular global news event of the year, despite it being a complete fabrication. Was it satire gone wrong, or a cynical ploy to sell newspapers? Written by John Loeffler. So here's a image that was made of some of the descriptions from this story. They described people with bat-like wings living on the moon, along with a bunch of other animals. In 1835, the Great Moon Hoax convinced people around the world that the moon wasn't a barren wasteland, but actually a rich landscape full of ruby caverns, towering amethyst crystals, populated by intelligent humanoid bat people, two-legged badgers, and unicorns. While this seems ridiculous in hindsight, at the time, everyone from Ivy League students to middle-class professionals were roped in by the 6-part series in the New York Sun newspaper. Claiming to be a supplement to a serious scientific journal in Scotland, the series played on the era's excitement over a steady stream of revolutionary scientific discoveries and an increasingly literate audience hungry to be in the know. The Sun never quite fessed up to inventing the whole thing, and those involved would claim that it was just satirizing the spectacular claims of popular scientists and was never meant to be taken literally. But there's no question that the story was taken as fact by its audience and that it was a financial windfall for the Sun, which claimed that the story helped boost its circulation to become the best selling newspaper in the world. So, was the Great Moon Hoax of 1835 a cheeky bit of satire that got out of hand, or was it a harbinger of modern day fake news? An era of scientific possibility. The 19th century was a remarkable one for scientific progress that people could actually see. In the 2 centuries before, scientists like Isaac Newton and Ole Romer had made incredible scientific discoveries, but these discoveries were largely confined to academic papers and made little impact on the lives of everyday humans who lived not that differently than their great great grandparents. They might even have been farming the very same land with the very same kinds of tools as their ancestors did 2 centuries prior. So, what did the speed of light or the development of calculus have to do with them? During the Industrial Revolution, scientific discoveries manifested in the form of the steam engine, locomotives, machinery, and telescopes that began transforming the lives of everyone seemingly overnight. Scientists had gone from stuffy academics to modern day wizards who seemed to be pulling the secrets of the universe from the ether. The thing that made Mary Shelley's Frankenstein so terrifying for readers in the 19th century was that people believed scientists were genuinely on the cusp of raising the dead by harnessing electricity. For them, every day brought startling new discoveries that no one could have previously imagined, so life on the moon didn't seem too far fetched, especially when there was money to be made in the process. The rise of the penny press. The so called penny press was taking advantage of the machinery of the Industrial Revolution and turning tabloid newspapers, once the exclusive province of political parties and business leaders, into one of the greatest disseminations of knowledge in human history. The cheap, easily distributed tabloids got their start in the early 1830s and popular way for the became a popular way for the up and coming middle class to read about the world and all the incredible progress that was being made in science and industry. Claiming to be politically independent, their purpose was to inform their audience, but also to entertain them. By avoiding the touchy issue of politics, they could appeal to a wide audience regardless of outside affiliations. And thanks to the explosion of literacy during the Industrial Revolution, that audience was growing fast and was hungry for content. In 1835, the Sun was consistently outsold by rival daily tabloids in the city, especially the New York Herald, founded just a couple of years later. So the Sun's publisher, Benjamin Day, went looking for the most sensational story he could find to boost circulation and challenge the Herald. What he published would do more than beat out the Herald. It would become one of the largest mass media events in the world and cement the Sun's position as one of the most influential daily tabloids for more than a century. The Great Moon Hoax of 1835 was the work of the Sun's editor, Richard Adams Locke. Together, the day Locke crafted an account of the findings of Sir John Herschel, a real and prominent British astronomer who at the time was working in South Africa. Written up as a supplement to the paper published in the Edinburgh Journal of Science, the Great Moon Hoax of 1835 was presented as the account of Herschel's associate, Dr. Andrew Grant. Grant, as Locke wrote it, recounted the construction of the world's largest telescope at the Cape of Good Hope, capable of identifying planets around neighboring stars and making precise observation of the lunar surface. Every day brought more and more incredible details of the lunar surface, starting with the discovery of dark red poppy-like flowers and other plant life on the moon. Next came herds of bison-like quadrupeds, populating lunar forests, blue goats with a single horn, and a strange amphibious creature of a spherical form which rolled with great velocity across the pebbly beach. By the third day, the readers learned of bipedal beavers that appeared to be a form of primitive intelligent life, living in rudimentary huts, carrying their young in their arms the way humans swaddle their infants. And from the smoke billowing from their huts, they were capable of using fire. Locke was building up to the most incredible claim, though. On the fourth day, the Sun published an account of humanoid creatures living in a valley dubbed the Ruby Colosseum. Most incredibly, these creatures were capable of speech and conversation, indicating human levels of intelligence. They also had wings and were capable of flight, leading Herschel to supposedly give them the scientific name Vespertilio homo, or man bats. The last two parts of the series pointed to a form of possible religious devotion through the author, including the caveat that they ought not make baseless speculations about the nature of their temples and ceremonial buildings after having done exactly that. A brilliant flourish on Locke's part. The final installment pointed to a state of complete harmony on the moon, implicitly alluding to an Eden-like innocence among the Lunarians. Conveniently, the final installment also describes a terrible accident that damaged the observatory, which prevented Herschel from making any further observations of the lunar surface. Being the early days of journalism, the six-part series was written much more like a narrative work of fiction than anything we'd call journalism today. But for the Sun's audience, details like the precise measurements of Herschel's telescope, the stories appropriating the authority of an academic journal, the claim that other independent authorities were present to confirm Herschel's findings, and that all of their accounts and testimony were included in a forthcoming scientific paper on his findings, all lent credibility to the account. After all, the readers of the penny press tabloids have become accustomed to these kinds of details and news stories about genuine scientific discoveries. For many, it was just the greatest discovery yet in a growing line of great discoveries. The world gets snookered by a tale of man bats on the moon. The story caught fire in the United States. The Sun claimed that its daily circulation soared to 19,300, beating out the best-selling daily tabloid in the world, the London Times, whose daily circulation the Sun claimed to be around 17,000, but which was actually closer to 10,000. Other notable tabloids bought into the hoax as well, with the New Yorker declaring the promulgation of these discoveries creates a new era of astronomy and science generally. William Griggs, a student at Yale University in 1835, later wrote in the Southern Quarterly Review, Yale College was alive with staunch supporters, the literati, students and professors, doctors in divinity and law, and all the rest of the reading community looked daily for the arrival of the New York mail with unexampled avidity and implicit faith. Have you seen the accounts of Sir John Herschel's wonderful discoveries? Have you read The Sun? Have you heard the news of the man in the moon? These were the questions that met you everywhere. It was the absorbing topic of the day. Nobody expressed or entertained a doubt as to the truth of the story. Though some had grown suspicious that the story was a hoax, there was little way to verify the story in any meaningful or timely way. The Edinburgh Journal of Science had stopped publication under that name 2 years earlier, but with a round trip by sail to England taking more than a month, even the most cursory fact checking would take weeks. What's more, ships sailing to England also brought copies of the Sun story abroad, which then spread through Europe before anyone could verify it. Before long, newspapers in France and Italy were reprinting the story, complete with illustrations of man bats and other details of the Great Moon hoax. The main office of the New York Herald had coincidentally burned down in early August, and the paper was out of print until August 31st, 1835, the day of the last installment of the Sun's series. As such, there was no one prominent enough to challenge the story until it already caught on with the public. The Sun couldn't keep it going forever, though. The Herald published a rebuttal to the Sun story in its first edition once publication resumed, written by the paper's publisher, James Gordon Bennett, in The Astronomical Hoax Explained. Bennett accused the Sun of fabricating the story and identifying Locke as its true author. It was also among the first critics to point out that the Edinburgh Journal of Science was no longer being published. With no way for the public to tell who was telling the truth, Bennett's rebuttal had little impact. When the Sun refused to admit the hoax, Bennett wrote a few days later, "We mean now to show up the Sun, the impudent Sun, the unprincipled Sun, the mercenary Sun, the low-bred Sun, the Sun that hoaxes the public, that tells untruths for money, that makes fools of the wine, that cheats the whole city and country. The revulsion of public sentiment is fast accumulating. Its astronomical hoax will touch the Sun yet too quick." In the end, the Sun said that the only way to settle the issue was to wait for British papers to corroborate or debunk the story, claiming that it had simply reported on what was written in the Edinburgh Journal of Science, so it couldn't be responsible if the story was a hoax in the end, thus sidestepping the issue long enough to effectively get away with the hoax. Was the Great Moon hoax satire gone too far, or was it the original fake news? While the Great Moon hoax of 1835 has all the markings of fake news, there is solid evidence that it genuinely was meant to be satire, at least for Locke. In the celebrated Moon story, Griggs writes that Locke reportedly told friends before the story's publication, "If the story be either received as a veritable account or rejected as a hoax, it is quite evident that it is an abortive satire. And in either case, I am the best self hoaxed man in the whole community." In all likelihood, the story was meant as a dig at a popular Scottish astronomer named Thomas Dick, who claimed to have circulated that there were more than 21 trillion inhabitants of the solar system across all the known planets. The moon alone, he said, had more than 4 billion. Herschel, the real one, didn't discount the possibility of lunarians, writing in 1834 that the only way to know for sure was to have a sufficiently large telescope that could get a clear enough look at the lunar surface to detect structures or evidence of agriculture. Locke apparently read the works of Dick and found them absurd. After reading Herschel's idea of a very large telescope to resolve the question, set about writing up the satire that would become the Great Moon hoax of 1835. Of course, that's not to say that Locke and Day weren't in it for the money, but they wouldn't be the first to blur the line between fact and fiction to sell newspapers. Journalistic standards really weren't a thing in 1835. It would take decades before newspapers adopted a more deliberate, objective approach to their reporting that we expect from them today. The expectation of objectivity is an important component of the modern fake news, and without that expectation, the label doesn't quite fit in this case. The readers of The Sun apparently all had a good laugh about it in the end, and the readership of The Sun remained strong even after the public came to see the hoax for what it was. Herschel, still in South Africa, found out about the Great Moon hoax of 1835 later that year, but he too laughed about it when he did, saying, "It is only a great pity that it is not true." Do any elements of this sound familiar at all? Um, let's see, where was I in the chat? Um, yeah, I mean, people been able to get away with hoaxes many times over since then. Fake news, the way that article talks says that fake news, uh, we have so-called journalistic standards today. Well, hopefully most people see that the journalistic standards are not being upheld. Like they're reporting fake science in the last few years. Bit by bit, it's coming out that they lied about pretty much everything about the last 3 years. The media did, the so-called people, the journalists, right? The ones that are supposed to have journalistic standards. Well, they have no standards. And is it partially about the money? I'm sure, but it's also, well, it's all about the power. In the end, the money's about power. Why would you want money unless it was going to give you something, power over your life? So it's all in the end about power. Certain people control the media and they make the media report things a certain way so that they can control what people are thinking, how people are voting. And it helps them to commit fraud in multiple regards. And it helped them to kill, well, it looks like millions in the last few years, right in front of you. Right in front of you. If you know someone who died because they got stuck, you are firsthand witness of part of the genocide right in front of you. So, and people, like, they seem, so many people, they don't want to think enough. They don't want to challenge these so-called authorities when the government says something or the media says something. These are the people who know the facts, and I need to listen to them. No, these are the people that lie. They lie to you pretty much consistently. So, no, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. But you saw a lot of similar evidence, though. Even so, after people learn that something was a hoax, it pretty much gets forgotten, and then at least this particular hoax is something so ridiculous. I don't think anybody would. It would not make the rounds again these days. But we see this happen all the time. Hoaxes come back around and come back around, and we have to go through it all over again for the people that are new into the subject. And it's a constant battle. It must be fought. Because if you don't, those people are always working. The hoaxers are always working. The Rick Dyers, the Vaults, all these ridiculous liars. Christopher Noel and his freaking autistic porcupine. Angel says storm chaser. I would like a storm. I would like it to cool some things down up in here. It's too hot. It's too hot already. I would like it to be a little cooler. Icon says Reed has been very involved with Storm Chaser for a number of years. Yeah, I'm not a big follower of Storm Chasers, so I don't know. I don't know who he is. Danny says been watching wrestling all day. At least WWE is up front with their bullshit. Oh yes, yes. Like our election. I don't know if we want to talk about that here on Phenomena, but it's basically WWE, but it's guys in suits. They're all acting. I hope everyone realizes almost every single politician is acting a part. These guys are all buddies behind the scenes. Pretty much all of them. There might be a very few exceptions, but I don't know. I can tell you if I was ever running for office, you can be assured that I'm not buddies with any of these assholes. I might have to play nice with them, but no. No. I'm there for one thing. Uphold the Constitution. Famous old schoolers retire lately. Superstar Billy Graham retired to the other side last week. Icon says, "Oh wow, there's a name I haven't heard in a while. Rest in peace, superstar." Fire, Sleeping Beauty's here. Welcome. Multitasking. Danny says, "LOL, they lied about everything since June 4th, 1947. July 4th, 1947. Yeah. Mr. Lee's here. Welcome, Mr. Lee. You're late. You're late. Porcupine, get away. Gate away. Yeah. Yeah. Is Christopher Noel still sticking to that stupid story? I don't know if we want to look at the. Well, maybe we can look at a couple of things, a couple of pictures that were drawn. You know, back then, man, people had no way to verify stuff, no way at all. You know, so they would believe some bullshit, man. What's that? That's from the Italian version of the Great Moon Hoax. Leopoldo Galuzzo, other lunar discoveries from Herschel. Yeah, Herschel. They used his name. He didn't have anything to do with it, but they used his name. Like they they got that upright beaver standing in the center there, holding its baby like a human. We got humans with bat wings. We got some kind of one-horned goat thing and a one-horned buffalo. I mean, they didn't even try it like that. That buffalo looks pretty much exactly like any ordinary water buffalo, though, except it's got a horn sticking out head. Like you see how they couldn't even make anything truly unique? Like they got a human and they stuck wings on it. They got a water buffalo and they stuck a horn in the middle of its head. They got a goat and they stuck a horn in the middle of its head. The beaver just stood up and held a baby. You know, it's nothing truly unique. You know, nothing truly unique. Like, and it's hard to get something unique because there's always something in nature that resembles whatever you got. Um, the Alien movie franchise, that was kind of unique. I mean, I don't think anybody's ever seen anything like that. So, Icon says, Mr. Lee, you plumb missed everything, you hillbilly. You plumb missed everything, Mr. Lee. So saith Icon. Begin to think there's something wrong with you. Yeah, where you been? You've been kind of scarce. It says Icon says the airship needs to be airdropping venomous rabbits on remote villages. Yeah, it do. It do. It do. I think this article's from. It's a short article. This is from May 17th. Just a few days. Just a few days. A few days ago. It's Bigfoot season, and there are several reasons to look for them. Exemplar.com. Even if you don't find anything, it's a pretty nice way to spend time outside, by Cassandra Yorkie. What's the worst thing that could happen if we all start looking for Bigfoot? Even if you don't believe the legendary cryptids exist, there are quite a few compelling reasons to go looking. A woman who believes she found footprints left by Bigfoot doesn't care that people don't believe her. She's going to keep looking for more evidence that they exist. From her perspective, the worst that can happen is she gets some exercise and to see some amazing views while out in nature. If she finds the hide and seek champion of cryptids, it's just a bonus. She likens the search for Bigfoot to seeking a rare bird, correctly pointing out that Bigfoot has an extra layer of skepticism that doesn't impact the legitimacy of searching for other rare and endangered species. If a bird had been documented in journals and newspapers for 200 years, but only signs of it had been found rather than a specimen, it wouldn't be considered a myth or ridiculous to try and find it. But because it's Bigfoot, people can easily dismiss the claim. Her example is correct, but even more relevant is the giant squid. These giant cephalopods of the deep were literally classified as cryptids right along with Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster up until the early 2000s, despite hundreds of years of sightings and even dead specimens. The giant squid is one of the most famous and recent examples of a proven cryptid. However, there have been many examples through the history of cryptozoology, tracing back to the underappreciated Lady Pharaoh Hatshepsut, who documented previously unknown animals on her journey to the lost land of Punt. Some believe she may have been one of the first to document the okapi, an elusive and striped member of the giraffe family, sometimes called the African unicorn, as its existence wasn't proven until the 20th century. There are several other examples of animals thought extinct that were then rediscovered, which are now often called Lazarus taxon as a nod to rising from the dead. So if you don't know what an okapi is, here's some pictures of them. I think most people looking at these can kind of tell it is something related to a giraffe. There's where they live. Really not a very big region. Yep. Pretty neat looking animal though. That's its tongue. They got some serious tongue action. Mr. Lee says, I saw a rabid dog once in Italy. That was not a pretty sight. Icon says, Mr. Lee, how long ago did you go globetrotting? In your 20s and 30s, traveled a lot. Then you got a mortgage. Zebra looks like it, and giraffe. Yeah. But it's a species of giraffe that apparently had some evolutionary advantage to developing stripes very similar to a zebra. Danny says I traveled a lot, then I got old. Icon says yikes, so only a couple of years ago then. So, what else we got? Anybody got any other recent cryptid news? Because I don't got anything else. Nothing else. Nothing new anyway. This thing is not responding very well. As in photo, just 17. Works for you. Got an old article pulled up over here. Pretty old. But we can check it out. Because, yeah. On history. On history.com. Bigfoot was investigated by the FBI. Here's what they found. In 2019, the FBI released its 4-decade-old file on a Bigfoot inquiry. Legends of large ape-like beasts can be found all over the world. Since the 1950s, the United States version of this has been Bigfoot. And since 1976, the FBI has had a file on him. That year, Director Peter Byrne of the Bigfoot Information Center, an exhibition in the Dalles, Oregon, sent the FBI about 15 hairs attached to a tiny piece of skin. Byrne wrote that his organization couldn't identify what kind of animal it came from and was hoping the FBI might analyze it. He also wanted to know if the FBI had analyzed suspected Bigfoot hair before, and if so, what the Bureau's conclusion was. At the time, Byrne was one of the more prominent Bigfoot researchers, says Benjamin Radford, deputy editor of Skeptical Inquirer magazine. In 2019, a lot of people think of Bigfoot as being sort of silly and a joke or whatever else. But in the 1970s, Bigfoot was really, really popular. That was when the $6 million man had a cameo by Bigfoot. This was also after Roger Patterson and Robert Gemlin released their famous video footage in 1967, supposedly showing Bigfoot in Northern California. It's worth noting that the original evidence that launched the Bigfoot craze, a trail of oversized footprints discovered in the same region in 1958, was revealed to be a prank by logger Ray L. Wallace in 2002. Many people believe the Bigfoot creature in the Patterson-Gimlin film was a costumed prankster as well. Byrne has always believed the footage is real. Jay Cochran Jr., Assistant Director of the FBI Scientific and Technical Services Division, wrote back to Byrne that he couldn't find any evidence of the FBI analyzing suspected Bigfoot hair, and that the FBI usually only examined physical evidence related to criminal investigations. Still, it sometimes made exceptions in the interest of research and scientific inquiry, and Cochran said he'd make such an exception for Byrne. Unsurprisingly, Cochran found that the hair didn't belong to Bigfoot. In early 1977, he sent the hair back to Byrne along with his scientific conclusion. The hairs are of deer family origin. 4 decades later, the Bureau declassified its Bigfoot file about the analysis. To be clear, This is not evidence that the FBI endorsed the existence of Bigfoot any more than the U.S. military's decades-long investigation of unexplained aerial phenomena, popularly known as UFOs, is an endorsement of the existence of aliens. All it means is the FBI did a favor to a Bigfoot researcher, Radford said. There's nothing wrong with that, but it shouldn't be mistaken for de facto government endorsement of the reality of Bigfoot. Even so, Bigfoot believers may be tempted to spin it that way. They love the idea that there's a smoking gun in the FBI files. See, look, Bigfoot must be real, otherwise the FBI wouldn't have taken it seriously, he continues. Well, the FBI didn't send out a team of investigators to look for Bigfoot. They agreed to run an analysis of 15 hairs. To add more layers to what is already an unusual case, 93-year-old Byrne doesn't seem to remember receiving the FBI's response that the Bigfoot hair was actually deer hair. Because Byrne had been out of the country for several months, Cochran sent the letter to the executive vice president of the Academy of Applied Science, which was associated with Byrne's Bigfoot organization. The executive wrote that he would give Byrne copies of the correspondence when he returned. Yet, when the FBI released its Bigfoot file, which was exclusively about Byrne's inquiry on June 5th, 2019, Byrne reacted as though he were hearing of it, that it was deer hair for the first time. Obviously, I can't speak for Peter Byrne, Radford says, but if you're going to make a big enough deal about this unknown specimen to give it to the FBI, then you're not going to want to publicize the fact that it turned out to be deer. So yeah, I think either he's embarrassed about sending deer hair to the FBI, or he's 93 years old and he can't remember shit. So there. Mr. Lee says it's my anniversary weekend. You must congratulate me for 27 years of heavenly torture with my girlfriend. My condolences, Mr. Lee. I mean, congratulations. Icon says you could discuss the fact that El Nino is already in full swing, and the CPC, NECP, NWS is saying it won't be warming up for a month yet. Well, global warming is going to get us in 12 years. AOC said so, right? We only got 12 years left. Man. Once again, I must say that most of the people claiming that man-made global warming is going to get us do not have anywhere near the credentials that I have. I actually have a environmental degree. This does not make me a meteorologist, however. Doesn't make me a climatologist, but I do know more about these subjects than your average person. And it's bullshit. It's a hoax. It's a scam. It's used to steal power from you and funnel money into certain people's pockets. There's no credible evidence that humans are warming the earth. And in fact, when you looked at that CO2 line and that temperature line, they always show you that little graph, right? They like to show you that graph. Look, the CO2 is going up. And maybe I should go the other way. Most people thinking left to right, right? The CO2 level is going up and the temperature is going up. So the CO2 must be causing that temperature to go up. No, maybe the temperature going up is what's causing the CO2 concentrations in the atmosphere to increase, because more CO2 gets liberated into the atmosphere with higher temperatures, and the Earth is just going up in temperature on its own. And if it is going up on its own, if it is going up at all, there is not much we can do about it. Oh, we could. There's some things we could do about it. We could easily cool down the Earth, really. But that's one thing we could probably pull off. A short-lived cooling. Well, actually, we could do something that's a long-lived cooling. I don't want to give the government ideas, though. They might try to do this shit, and they don't need to do shit. They need to just leave well enough alone. Humans need to be a little better at being mobile in general. We were a mobile species for millions of years. We followed herds of animals. That's what we did. We screwed up by starting to become a more sedentary race. We started building these big structures, and then we want to stay and hang out there, and then you become sitting ducks. And then now we got crap like, we live in sticks. We live in stick houses that burn really easy or blow away in a tornado. I mean, if you're going to build something, build underground. Just do it. Just do it. Your heating and cooling bills will be way, way, way less than normal. I mean, just build underground if you're going to build. But everyone should be more mobile, better able to move around. That way, if there's a drought in your area and all the game have left the area, you just leave and go elsewhere. If it's too hot, you just leave and go elsewhere. If it's too cold, you just leave and go elsewhere. Just move around as needed to, find the conditions that you want. Now, for humans, for most of those millions of years, it was mainly following the game. There may have been some degree of going to certain places at a certain time of year to trade. Some of that trade would have been trading humans. We got 2 females. We want to trade for 2 of your females. That was, just reality. Like it or not, that's what humans did. It was natural, normal. There may have been some degree of moving with the seasons. Like they may have realized, look, it gets cold as hell here, but we know if we go south, it's going to be warmer. But mainly they needed to be where the food was. So they moved around. So now we got, huge freaking cities sitting in places they just shouldn't be. So when they're worried about sea level rise, right? Well, that wouldn't be a problem if you were mobile. Just, you're parked in your travel trailer or your RV and you just drive away. If a campground becomes flooded and you can't use it anymore, you just go make a new campground on higher ground. But the interesting thing about this is all these banks are still giving big ass loans for expensive oceanfront properties. Now, the banks probably know if global warming is real or not. So why are they giving loans to people to buy properties, oceanfront property? It's bullshit. I'm pretty sure Bigfoot knows too. Angel says, "Happy anniversary, Mr. Lee." Danny says, "Hey, that was an awesome episode of $6 Million Man. Had Andre the Giant as Bigfoot." Yeah. Icon says, "Happy anniversary, Mr. Lee. Many more to you." Icon says, "Reed is on a monster mothership supercell." Do you mean he is sitting on it, hanging out with God and drinking a Bud Light? What do you mean he's on a monster mothership supercell? Do you mean he's following one? He's following a big storm? Is that what's going on? Uncle Bones is here. Welcome. We can now we have a live stream. Uncle Bones is here. Icon says, right, I know about the BS. The water off the coast of the West South America had already rapidly warmed 15 degrees in the month before the National Weather Service discussion on the 11th. Yeah. Miss Lee says that credit girl gets on nerves just saying, yeah, she don't know hey, we should, I'll put it the way, if she was a vegan, and she probably does advocate for veganism, and Professor Bart K was talking about her, he would say she don't know dick about fuck. she don't know. I mean, I don't know why, if anybody, after getting exposed for hoaxing, getting arrested or trying to, she didn't really pull it off, I guess. Sitting there laughing while they were putting her in cuffs. They were trying to fake an arrest, I guess. That was it. How dare you? How dare you, you little bitch? Fuck the hell off. Go get knocked up by some other mentally deficient individual. Icon says that discussion stated the warming is expected in the next couple of months. How warm do they need it to be? Boiling? Yeah. This, I don't know what the hell. I can't trust them. If they're towing the line, if they are, I mean, they're the National Weather Service. If they really know their science, they should be able to they should know that man-made global warming is bullshit. So either they don't know their science and they haven't figured this out, and therefore we can't trust them very much with long-term climatic predictive models, or they know damn well and they're lying, which means we still can't trust them. So I don't trust them. Mr. Lee says, I used to like Leonardo DiCaprio, but he has lost his mind lately with that Greta crap. Icon says, Mr. Lee, I recently saw a pic of a poster of Grouchy Thunder Bunny that was on the side of a building. Rather foreboding. Icon says, oh, wait, he's following the supercell. Mr. Lee says, Icon, it was probably Banksy. Don't think so. Way too much detail and shading. Icon says, that's why I do my own forecasting, period. Have been for 20 years. I mean, I'll look at the weather, but I'm usually looking for what's going to happen in the next few hours if I'm looking at anything. But usually how I check the weather is like this. Yep, it's got mostly blue skies, the sun shining. There, you have it. You have the weather for the Muskogee, Oklahoma area, and yeah, it's accurate as hell. What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? I'll tell you tomorrow. Because I've seen it change within hours. Like they're predicting, well, it's going to do this, and 4:00, and then 4:00 comes, or 3:00 comes, and you check the weather again, and they change what the prediction of 4:00 is because the prediction was wrong.
Prediction was wrong. Because the prediction of 4 o'clock is 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 because the predi
And if you didn't look earlier, you wouldn't have known that they changed the prediction from just a few hours earlier because they were wrong. Because they don't know what the hell's going to happen in 3 hours as accurately as they want you to think. Danny says it's freaking 45 degrees in South Carolina in May. I could use some of that warming crap today. Dude, send that 45 degrees my way. I would much rather have 45 degrees right now. I don't like the 80s. And we ain't even got hot yet. It's only May. Well, we might see some 100 plus at some point this summer. Miss Lee says you can always lick your finger and put up to the wind for weather forecasts. Yeah, if you cared what direction the wind was coming from, I actually do not give a shit which direction the wind comes from, as long as it's blowing. I like there to be a little wind, especially if I'm burning fire. A lot of people don't like burning when there's wind. I love burning when it's wind because I can burn things faster. It feeds the flame. It feeds the fire. I get so pissed off, because people get. I've burned a lot of shit in my life, a lot of land off and stuff like that, and occasionally do things get a little wild, sure, but if you just control the damn fire. But some of this area here I was burning, and it wouldn't, because everything is still too damp. It doesn't completely burn off the material, which is good and bad. I want it to completely burn off so it just drives out all the ticks and all the kills as many of the seeds as possible and whatnot. But on the other hand, there's enough material on the ground that I may be able to come through and do another burn later on to try and take out stuff that's sprouted that I don't want growing in these areas, to knock stuff back down again. So but I'd have to wait for it to get pretty dry to pull that off. The dew in this area, like we're pretty much we're too close to the river, a big river. Things are too damp. Just almost all the time. The morning dew, everything starts out wet in the morning. So I like for there to be fire or wind so that things will burn more efficiently and faster. And like this area here, I'm not remotely worried about a fire getting out of control. It would have to get really, really dry. It would have to get really, really dry. And even then you can control it. I mean, the just if you got your fire breaks, you got a metal rake and just deal with it. It's not rocket science, I don't think. I don't think. But it's a fire, man. It's a good way to maintain your land. Knock back brush and stuff, and take care of pests, reduce ticks and stuff like that. Less mice and stuff if you don't want that kind of stuff around. It's just So I want wind. I want wind when I'm burning the fire. I know it freaks people out. I know a lot of people who get all freaked out about fire and wind, but it'd have to be some serious wind before I'm too worried about things, depending on the circumstance. You gotta do stuff like if you're on a hill, well, don't start the fire on the bottom of the hill. Start the fire on the top of the hill if things are dry and too windy. If you got a good fire break all the way around, it really doesn't matter too much. But if it's real windy, and that wind comes, because that fire creates its own drafts up that hill. You could shoot burning material up the hill and it could cross your fire break. So you probably don't want to do that if the winds are too high. But you determine what you're going to do based on what the conditions are. And if you're, if you know what you're doing, you can manage your way around most conditions, unless it's just straight up tinderbox conditions. Which if it gets too bad, the state always puts up a fire ban anyway, which I have burned many times during Oklahoma fire bans. I do not give a shit about the fire bans. And never during a fire ban have I had a fire get out of control. Why? Because I know what the fuck I'm doing. Now, the only thing that gets to be a wild card is if you're dealing with unnatural materials. If you're burning plastic or tar or tires or shingles and stuff like that, you start getting a wild card in there. A highly volatile fuel source that you're not going to be able to stop once it really gets going. A lot of times, let's say you got a pile of brush, you pull that brush out and spread it out. The fire's gonna subside. Let's say it's just burning too tall. It's getting up into the trees or something. You reach in there with your rake or your hoe or whatever you got and drag it apart, and it's pretty much over. If that's a pile of tires, and those tires are going, you're still got they're still going to be burned. It's just you may just make things worse trying to pull it apart if you can get it to come apart. But this release says, Dan, is that hot? Is it hot? Are you talking about 45 degrees? Mr. Lee, 45 degrees is in Fahrenheit here, and it's cold. Most people consider it cold. Let me see if I can. 45 Fahrenheit is 7.22 Celsius. So, yeah, nope, not hot. Not hot. Not hot for most people. I like 45 degrees. 45 degrees would be great right now. Angel says, Danny, we went from 35 this morning to 80 this afternoon. I needed some 45 or even 35 this morning to get those bees to go into the hive. I had to go over and try to close the doors on 2 hives this morning, so I could try to. I took them down to a poultry swap to try and sell them. Nobody bought them. A lot of people are interested in buying, but don't buy, which sucks because I need some freaking cash. But anyway, it wasn't cold enough to make them want to cluster. It was like 60 degrees was the coldest it got overnight, which sucks. I want colder than 60 degrees. But so they didn't go into cluster. There was, a couple dozen of them hanging out on the front of the box. So I had to try and brush some of them to try to get them to go in, and some of them weren't cooperating and they weren't getting out of the way. And those stupid doors, I hate the doors on these little plastic hives that are made for what they call a nuke or a nucleus colony. It's a small 5-frame colony that people can buy. So shut the door. A couple bees got squished in the door. One pissed off bee come out and stung me in the knee, which, one sting is nothing, and I'm probably lucky that's all I got. And all this could have been solved if it had just gotten down to 45 degrees, because all those bees would have gone inside and got into a ball, clustered to stay warm. Nope, 60 degrees. Too freaking warm at 60. Danny says, I like it a nice 70 degrees. Danny likes a nice 70 degrees. Mr. Lee, 70 degrees is 21.11 Celsius. Icon says, Danny, there's a low pressure system off the coast by you, pretending to be a subtropical system. It's messing with the high pressure north of it and cooling you off. Well, send it over here, damn it. It's too freaking hot over here. Danny says, no shit. I don't know what you're saying no shit to, but yeah. Mr. Lee says, burning tires is bad news. You can always make a sensible footwear from a tire. For example, the Crocs. Yeah, there's some tires. I don't know if I don't think I've gone in my videos where I'm walking around in the woods at night. There's a place where there's some tires in the woods here. So I might try to make me some new flip-flops out of those. That might be something I can try and pull off. But I have no problem burning tires. I'm an environmentalist. People be like, oh my gosh, you can't burn tires. I've heard of people throwing one tire on a fire, on a brush fire, and then their county environmental officer shows up wanting to find them. Get the fuck out of here. You think, where's that tire come from? We made that stuff from natural materials. Yes, it's flammable. Yes, it's going to burn. You don't want to breathe the fumes, but you also don't want to breathe the fumes coming out of a freaking volcano. Mother Nature makes some toxic gases sometimes, and one burning tire isn't hurting shit. It's going to go back into the system. The gases are going to break down over time and go right back into the system. So don't worry, it's going to be fine. Don't stand downwind of it. Don't breathe it. But what else you going to do? You're going to throw it into a landfill? Maybe it's going to break down eventually, somehow, some way. So if you're someone who's got a tire and you don't want to wait for your city to have a tire roundup day, some places have those because people have tires to get rid of or whatever, and you just want to get rid of it, I think that disposing of it with fire is perfectly fine. You're not going to kill the earth. The earth made that tire, and the earth will take it back in whatever form you get it, whether it's breaking down slowly as part of an asphalt road, or sometimes they'll use it to make roads out use tires and like they put them, like they chop them up and put them on like horse tracks sometimes. And I've seen where I think they used them in playground, in place of sand. Like wherever you put it, it's going to break down to some degree, slow or fast, over time, and return to nature. Nature wants it back. She made it. She'll take it back. It's okay. But I wouldn't make Crocs out of it. I would make a flip-flop of some kind. I like my feet to get plenty of air. Icon says, I thought you said sensibility footwear. So Mr. Lee. Sensible. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard must make Crocs. I'm not going to make Crocs, but I might make flip-flops out of one of those tires back in there. But the rest of them, I might burn them. I don't give a shit. They're not going to hurt anything. It's not going to fucking hurt anything. Everyone's, just relax. Icon says, I need ice cream. Then I have to post a video. Be right back. All right, man. All right. Danny says, in South Carolina, we hang those old tires from a tree by a rope for the little hillbilly kids to play on. Yep, that's something you could do with an old tire. Mr. Lee says, Dan, I got one of those. I must be a hillbilly. Well, I don't think you have to be a hillbilly to have a tire swing. Um, maybe you could incorporate a tire into your Bigfooting. Maybe you hang a tire on a rope in the tree and set a camera up and see if anything comes and messes with that tire. Maybe Bigfoots will like the tire swing. Who knows? Icon says, burn them tars. Isn't that place, where's that place at where, like, I guess they had buried a bunch of tires? They'd buried a whole bunch of tires and somehow they caught fire. And them tires have been burning underground for years. Then he says, nah, Lee, goofs have them too. Goofs have them too? Is Mr. Lee a goof? Mr. Lee can't be a hillbilly. He can't be an English hillbilly. Uncle says, Icon, Chessboard sent you a copy. It's a copy of something. Mr. Lee says, I installed a new tire to my wheelbarrow today. No lie. Well, why would anyone think you're lying? Wheelbarrow tires are too small to make a tire swing from, Mr. Lee. Too small. Then he says, about 5 miles from me, there's a tire recycling place. They buy the old tires there. Do they really? That's good. That's awesome. Not everybody has that available to them. Some years back, came home, lived very, very rural place. And it looked like somebody must have just backed into the end of the driveway, just outside the gate. You know, it's like one of those just like a pole that comes across, kind of like you see, blocking a forestry road or something like, just a pole thing. It's not like a fence. It's just a pole gate for like when you leave and you don't want people to be able to drive in. They can step over. They got a little bit of a walk to get into where the house is, though. But anyway, just outside that gate, it looks like somebody had just pulled right there in front of it and had thrown out an entire pickup load of tires on both sides of the drive. And these tires have been cut. They had one cut through them so that you can't use them, I guess. So to me, that says tire shop. Because your average person changing tires is not cutting tires to keep you from using the tires. A tire shop would do that. So we never found out who did it, but we had an ass load of tires laying at the end of the driveway, and the only way but luckily the one of the local tribal environmental departments had a tire day where they were taking tires. We didn't get paid for them, but at least they took the tires off our hands, because otherwise you'd probably have to pay to get rid of all those tires, to dump them. or you just look the other way while I burn them. I probably wouldn't burn them all at once. Well, I would if they're at a good brush pile going, ready to start fire, and a serious rainstorm getting ready to hit, and then light that shit on fire just before the rainstorm hits. That way nobody's going to really see it. And you know. And also, it's going to definitely be under control, right? Mr. Lee says, Uncle Bones, I will check, but for some reason, chessboard always ignores me. Why does chessboard ignore you, Mr. Lee? Maybe it's because you're a ginger. You have no soul, Mr. Lee. You have no soul. That must be it, says Uncle Bones. Must be it. Gingers have no souls, Mr. Lee. Cartman said. Cartman said. Do we have any other? Is there any other? Is there any paranormal stuff that you guys are aware of that in the news lately? Because I don't got anything else really. Danny says you can use old tires to grow pot plants and just fill them with soil. Yeah, I guess you could do that if you wanted to grow pot plants. I don't plan on growing any pot plants myself, Danny, but I'm sure others could use that method if they like. Mr. Lee says, Dad, I use plenty tire to grow vegetables and garden. Yes. I don't know. I probably would never do that because I mean, just plant it in the ground. The ground, it's right there. Why do you need a tire? You know, just plant it in the ground. It'll grow. Nature's been doing it that way for, you know, billions of years. I don't want to look at the tire either myself. Like I see people like they'll take a tire sometime. It's not a whole lot of people, but some people in these parts, they will paint the tire white and use it for a flower bed kind of thing. So to me, I don't think it looks good at all. So I don't want to look at it, but whatever. Danny says you can use tires to grow all kinds of stuff. Mr. Lee says Lockbeard. He's having a farm. Oh, cattle, chickens, guineas, peacocks, quail, 2 old goats, and that's about it. Danny says tires hold the water better, keep some insects away, and deer hate the smell of rubber, so your weed don't get ate. You're going to deny the deer their right to get high on your weed. Well, I mean, when I gardened, I just put down a layer of cardboard over the entire garden and then a layer of straw on top of that. Didn't even have to water at all. Everything stays very moist that way. Moist. Everybody loves the word moist, right? Unless you're in a really dry region. But anyway, that thick layer of mulch on the ground with the cardboard layer underneath keeps the weeds down. Overlap the edges of your cardboard by about that much, at least, you know, cut across in the places where you want to poke through and dig some soil out and plant the plant and fold the cardboard flaps back in. Make sure it's tight so the weeds don't see the sun and come up through it. And that's the best way to garden. It really is. And in the early days, I used cardboard boxes, but and had to do a lot of overlaps. But um, if you got the hookup at a place like Lowe's, when they unload the incoming trucks full of product, they have something in the back of the trailer they call a seal. And what it is this huge sheet of cardboard. And they just end up having to cut this up or fold it up and try to get it into that cardboard baler, and they bale it up. Because it's just something that it's a huge sheet. It's like, I don't know, what is it, like uh, 7 foot by 7 foot square or something like that, maybe 8 foot. It's a big sheet of cardboard. So if you can score those, I used to score those from Lowe's, and you lay that down over your garden and make sure just the edges are overlapped, you're not going to have a weed problem. Like, not the kind of weed you're talking about, but weeds. and it's helping to keep the moisture down there. The worms love it because as the cardboard starts to break down, it just becomes compost, and the worms eat it. And if you're using cardboard boxes and they have that glue is just cornstarch stuff, so the worms eat the glue. And so it's that's the way to garden. And then, like, you're worried about the deer and stuff like that. But the right on the tail end of when I stopped gardening, really, because I stopped gardening because I just kind of went carnivore. I stopped eating vegetables. And I've talked about this before, I think, where I told the old man across the street, since his garden wasn't doing any good, that he could pick whatever he wanted out of my garden. And he was a little, I come out there one day, and he was a little peeved because this big trophy buck was getting into the garden, and he's getting into tomato plants, and he's just tearing stuff up. And I'm like, why are you worried about it? And so I plant. My thought about dealing with stuff like that is just plant more, and let nature take her cut. I was like, you got enough tomatoes? They're like, yeah. Well, don't worry about it. Let the buck have some. Maybe shoot him when hunting season comes, and you eat him too. Let nature have her cut. So what I think Danny needs to do is plant more weed. Invite the deer in, get them really high, and then when hunting season comes, take your choice. Because you get them deer coming in, like, hey, they're going to tell their buddies, they're like, look, there's some really good shit over here. Next thing you know, you got the deer walking right up into your weed patch, and when it comes time for you to fill your freezer, that deer will be so high he won't even know what happened. It'd be like shooting fish in a barrel. Then he says it's hell to keep the deer out of the fields in South Carolina. Mr. Lee says he loves moist. Deer stew is good. Dane says the only time I have a weed problem is when I run out. Mr. Lee says my compost heap is full of worms. I checked yesterday. It's fantastic. Yeah, that's a good thing. Turn it on a regular basis. If it gets a little dry, give it a little bit of water. Sometimes your compost pile needs a little bit of water. Danny says, I love deer meat. You can buy deer meat at the Hillbilly grocery store. I just wonder. So if you got deer coming into your pot field and they get really high, and then you shoot the deer and then you eat the deer meat, are you going to get high? Deer meat, hillbilly grocery store. Mr. Lee says oxtail stew I love too. Fall off the bone. Danny says no, I eat meat, but I don't kill animals anymore. I hunt them with a camera. Well, maybe you can get somebody to hunt them for you. Like there's a lot of people that want to hunt. If you got the land, and it's getting to where it's harder for people to find a place to hunt. Because a lot of people don't want to let people hunt on their land because they're going to hunt it. Well, if you're not hunting anyway, you can get some buddies. Say, hey, look, you can come hunt out here, but you gotta bring me some meat. And they'd probably be happy to do it. Maybe you could get your tags, and then they could, harvest yours for you. So you don't do the hunt; they do the hunt, and they get to hunt more, and maybe they get some more meat out of the deal. There's room for a deal here. Tom Cruise is here. What's up, Tom Cruise? Danny says, "LL, we get 2 or 3 deers a year with the cars by accident around here. Do you eat them?" You eat those suckers, or at least drag them into the woods and wait for Bigfoot to come. Try to get your video of Bigfoot taking your deer. Yippers. Yep. Unsuccessful beers or deer or bee sell today. I need to sell some bees, damn it. Lots of people talk about it, but not enough people actually buying. So we see Danny says you take the dead deer to the butcher. He trades you already processed meat. You get less, but it's free. Yeah, I guess you could do it that way. Mitch Lee's Lockbeard, we eat crow pie here. You had that? No. I wouldn't eat crows. Can you hear the crows out there? I just heard some of them making some calls. Crows are your friends, and there's not enough meat on a crow to eat. Why would you eat a crow? Sometimes I wonder if chickens are worth it. Pathetic little things, don't have much meat on them. Yeah, Danny, are you talking about a dead deer you picked up off the road that somebody hit? Or are you talking about one that you killed? Or somebody killed? There's a meat processing place near here. They do deer, cattle, wild hogs. They'll do wild hogs too. Because there's some of these places won't if they won't do wild hogs because of contamination, I guess, with of some kind that they're worried about. So some people seem to have a hard time finding a place that'll process wild hogs. Danny says if you hit one, you only have 2 hours to get it to them. So you could fudge your numbers, right? Yeah, it was 2. It was 4. I mean, 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago. I don't know. I wish I had like a rack on this van or something to where whenever I see a dead deer or a fresh kill, throw it on there so I could haul it in. Like, I might not eat it, but the dogs would love it. The dogs would love to have that sucker. Danny says they have to test for the pig thing here. You can't fake. Oh, they do a temperature. They take a temperature. I guess that's yeah. I guess that would time of death, just like a person, right? Figure out the ambient what's the ambient temperature, what's normal body temperature of the creature, and how long it takes to cool down to the current temperature of the body, based on our little calculation over here. Yeah. But so then what would you do if you get there and it's cooled down too much? Then what? Then he says you can't process meat after it falls below a certain temperature. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, I guess. Never bothered humans for the last few million years. I mean, they were killing a freaking mastodon and just set up camp around the body and munch on it for a week while it decomposes. I imagine at some point it gets a little too far gone, but then they say, you know what, we're going to leave this for something else to finish. Danny says if human can't eat it, they make dog food. Yeah. I mean, that's what, you know, should at least be done if you find a dead deer on the side of the road, if it's not gone too far into the rot. You know, a lot of people's farm dogs would be happy to eat that deer. These dogs here, like, they'll drag up stuff that's like been laying around a long time. They don't give a shit how long it's been laying there rotting. They will gnaw on some nasty, rotten stuff from any kind of animal. Anything from they'll bring up cow parts a lot of the time, and they guard cows here, but they when they find a dead cow, it's free game, right? So they'll eat it. And but everything down to like armadillos, they'll bring up an armadillo. It's been flattened and been laying around for a long time. They don't give a shit. You really don't want your dog licking you. Danny says, "Hello, South Carolina here, hillbilly life." Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely would like to rig something up like that, like a rack that folds up in front of the grill on the front of the van, but that I can fold down and then drag a deer carcass on there and then gut it there, so I'm not bringing the guts back. And hold in and make these dogs very happy dogs. Very happy dogs. Then he says, "Not my dog. She's a Bella. She will only eat gravy train and steaks." I don't know why. Why would a dog want to eat gravy train? Though that stuff, I don't know what the hell that is. Is it real meat? Is gravy train got real meat in it? Because I know all the dry dog food is nothing but cornmeal, diabetes causing crap that dogs should not eat. But people still give that crap to their dogs because it's convenient and blah blah blah, and they don't have the means to keep their dog in well in that real meat. I mean, dogs and humans partnered up a long time ago because humans were killing big freaking animals that the wolves couldn't necessarily always kill. It was a good partnership because the wolves who became dogs, um, could help in the hunt. They were hunters, but humans just had the ability to bring down a lot bigger stuff. And them dogs, those that was a good deal for them. Together, a lot more meat, a lot of meat for everybody. There was unlimited meat, unlimited meat. Humans hunted somewhere in the neighborhood of 160 different species of megafauna. There was all these gigantic animals. Humans were running around amid them all, dealing with them all. That's why we needed our weapons. We need to use our minds. We need to use coordinated hunting, and so partnering up with dogs was just a good idea. Although that came late in the game. We'd been hunting for millions of years before we did that, before we partnered with dogs. But so now, these dogs have partnered up with humans, these great hunters, and now we're giving them dry kibble. What a disappointment for the dogs. Danny says it's the only dog food my dog will eat. Spoiled, huh? She's spoiled. Plain spoiled. Which is good. Like, she shouldn't eat anything but real meat. People's got dogs are getting and cats too are getting very obese. They're getting diabetes. They're getting heart disease because we're feeding them stuff they're not supposed to eat. It's the same reason why humans are getting sick. Humans are supposed to eat fatty red meat, period. No vegetables, none of that, no grains. And if you ever eat fruit, it's a very, very rare thing. You don't find a fruit tree year round with ripe fruit on it. It's a very short period of time. And if you do find it, it's not in a big orchard. There's scattered trees. Other animals are eating these things. There's insects all up in them. They're not the big, selectively bred, genetically modified shit that we got today. So fruit was a very rare thing if humans ate it. And they probably did eat a little bit of fruit, but they ate meat. We're hyper carnivores, obligate hyper carnivores. That's what kind of species we are. And people would cure a lot of their illnesses if they switched to carnivore. I promise you, whatever your health problem is, just give it a go. Give it a go. You got mental issues, gone. Diabetes, gone. Heart disease, gone. Cancer, most cases, probably gone. Any kind of gut dysregulation, gone. Autoimmune symptoms, gone. If you are fat, it will stop being that way without exercise. You'll just start dropping weight. You're obese because you're eating shit that fucks up your system and makes you gain too much weight. It's not because they'll just tell you, oh, you're just overeating. No, there's more going on there. There's a lot more going on there. They're ignoring so much about human physiology. It's not just, and they'll tell you shit like calories. Calories is bullshit. You don't have an incinerator furnace in your freaking gut. That's not how it works. Calories does not apply. That's bullshit. It does not apply. So you don't even think about that. If you just eat nothing but fatty red meat, so some burger patties, some steaks, maybe throw some pork chops in there, but I feel like pork's kind of an inferior meat to beef. But use plenty of fat, though. Use plenty of fat. If you like dairy products, eat cheese and butter and stuff like that. Just you can eat all that you want, and don't worry about fiber. Don't worry about vitamin C. Don't worry about your cholesterol. Forget all that. It's all you've heard so much bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. You will feel 10 times better. You'll have a little adjustment period, though. Your gut's gotta, like, you got a whole bunch of microbes in your gut that aren't supposed to be there. Like, there's a lot of microbial mass in your gut that's not supposed to be there. So you got to flush that out. You also got everything in your body's inflamed. So, and as that inflammation's going down, there's a lot of fluids coming out. And so I'm just warning you, stay close to the toilet for a little while at first while all this shit flushes out. And then not everybody has that bad of a transition period, but some people do. And then once everything settles down, man, everything will be 10 times better. Everything will be 10 times better. And then once you feel it, you'll be like, damn, I've been doing this to my dog. And then you'll never want to do anything but give your dog meat again. Just straight meat. But it sounds like you're already giving your dog nothing but meat. So Icon says, my dog ate gravy train for a week and said, F you, I'm eating people food or nothing. True story. Well, that's part of the deal, though, right? Like, dogs have been, because they partnered with us, and for thousands of years, the dog eats what the human eats. The dog eats it's in their breeding. It's in their behavioral genetics. So if you're eating crap, it doesn't matter that it's crap, and the dog probably even knows it's crap. The dog wants to eat what you're eating. So that's why it's kind of makes it even a little bit more important that you eat nothing but fatty red meat, because that's what the dog's supposed to eat. That's what you're supposed to eat. Everybody's healthy. Nobody's getting any of these stupid diseases, and the doctor's not making you take medications and performing a bunch of procedures and tests on you and diagnosing you and giving you pills and cutting on you and all this stupid shit. All that goes away. They will lose tons of money. This is why they're trying to stop people using meat. I bet if we follow the money on some of the vegan propaganda, we can find that there's some pharmaceutical company, big medical company, group, some corruption going on there where they're funding this stuff, and they want you sick. If you eat nothing but fatty red meat, the vast majority of all these illnesses will go completely away. Stuff that they tell you can't heal, that you got to live with. They'll tell you have to live with diabetes for the rest of your life, and you got to take insulin or whatever it is. They will never tell you that if you switch to an all meat diet, none of that shit they're telling you is true. Now, your system's still damaged, so you may not, like, if you switch back to just all the garbage food again, your symptoms will come back. But you probably need that reminder to get you back on your on the proper human diet. What humans are designed to eat. nothing but fatty red meat. I just can't stress that enough. And people, if you don't believe that, it's because you're lacking the information. Go get the information. Dive deep. Become a scientist for a couple days or whatever it takes for you to look at, understand. Like when you look at something, they'll tell you, oh, well, the study shows this, blah blah blah. But when you look into the study, if you know how to analyze a study and find where the flaws are and why it doesn't apply to what they said, because a lot of times they'll twist things and say it means this when it doesn't mean what they said it means. So you gotta be careful with some of these charlatans trying to tell you this bullshit about what this means and what that means. And they can tell you, well, this plant here is good for you because it has vitamin C in it, and you need vitamin C. Never mind that plant is something called a deadly nightshade, and if you eat it, you will die. But it has vitamin C in it, and you need vitamin C, so therefore it's good to eat that plant. Now that's an extreme example, but the point is they tell you to eat all these things that are plants that have vitamin C in it because they tell you that you need the vitamin C, so you have to eat this plant to get the vitamin C. They leave out the part where that plant has numerous toxins. Now, you're not going to drop dead immediately, but over time, it's going to have negative effects on your system. You cannot have optimal health, and you could eventually die as a result of eating these plants. And people do all the time. The fact is on an all meat diet, you do not need you don't need the vitamin C that they claim you do, and you get what you need from the meat. They'll tell you there's no vitamin C in meat, and that is total bullshit. That's a lie. There is some vitamin C in meat, and it's just as much as you need, and you'll be fine. You don't need fiber at all. That's complete bullshit. Absolute goddamn lie. You do not need fiber. Period. That's a lie. And I don't know if you're someone that doesn't want to listen to that. I don't know what I need to show you to tell you that. I could tell you that I definitely had zero fiber for about 6 months at some point, and not only did no negative things happen in the regards that they will tell you, things were functioning very perfectly, better than ever. So it's bullshit. It's total bullshit. Mr. Lee says my dog eats boiled chicken breasts and dog biscuits, cocktail sausages for snacks. Does the dog have the cocktail too, Mr. Lee? Icon says dogs and other animals aren't supposed to be cooped up in a house like the dumb human animal. Yeah, I mean, that gets back to another thing, with us, we're the structures and being a more mobile species again, being able to just pick up and move away. If we all start, of course, some people have suggested that there's a government conspiracy to encourage people to live in smaller and smaller structures. Tiny house type stuff and all that. I don't know if that's true, but I think that people do need to live smaller. So if people could go, more towards, the RV lifestyle, and so maybe you have a piece of property you own with a big garage that you pull your RV into. It's climate controlled, but uh, if but your house, your home is your RV instead of having a house and then an RV for your just vacations. Why just have one thing? Have the RV. Just have the RV, and it makes you mobile. If you're in an area where there's hurricanes, you can just drive away. If you're in an area that has wildfire problems, well, if your house is sitting on the ground, you ain't like you can pick it up and carry it away from the fire. It's probably going to burn up in some of those cases, and a lot of these houses do. or just drive away. You got a severe winter storm coming? Just drive away. Just drive away. It's really great to be mobile. Icon says, Mr. Lee, your dog a bit gassy by chance? No perfume? What? You call it perfume, Mr. Lee? Bones sharing another farming save his life. Watch this movie. The star's knowledge of farming saves his life. Donald says, hey, Lockbeard, sorry I'm late. Had to take mom shopping. Yeah, that's fine. No big deal. There's always a replay. Mr. Lee says, Donald, you there? Yeah, there you are. Yeah, he's here. Finally. Bones says, hello, mom needs some cookies. Icon says, yes, my dog and his brother didn't eat their dog food for 4 days. We researched what food we could and couldn't feed dogs, and it's been that way ever since. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of times, like the dogs will eat stuff that's not good for them, like that humans eat, but there's a lot of shit it's not good for them. Just because they can get away with eating it, the dog don't drop dead or have explosive diarrhea necessarily, or something. But it's still not good for the dog to eat, because it's a long-term thing. Like, it takes years of eating crap food before you get, severe diabetes and heart disease and stuff like that. That the dogs are getting this stuff, and people aren't asking themselves, okay, why are these dogs getting these human diseases? See, in nature, these things really don't exist. So, like, if you find it at all, it's very, very rare. So, you think people put two and together. So, okay, the humans are eating corn and all this other stuff, and we're giving the dogs corn and all this other stuff, and then we're both getting diabetes, we're both getting heart disease and cancer and obesity. Well, here's your sign. Icon says, I'll check it when I get back in from the sprinkler. Laugh your ass off at that movie. Donald says, so what's the topic? What do we start out? We started out with the moon hoax of 1835. It's, it's again, there's some parallels, because people they hear this fantastical story that they want to believe so bad that they're willing to accept it, or they just appeal to authority, right? Where, okay, well, the newspaper said it, so it must be so, and I don't know any different, so I'm just going to believe the newspaper. A lot of parallels with the Bigfoot subject and hoaxes, and then parallels with modern day media and the fake news, the propaganda news networks of CNN and MSNBC and even Fox News. They all spread the lies these last few years, especially. They spread some horrendous lies that led to massive genocide across the globe by needle. And some people need to be held accountable for that mass murder. So we'll see if it happens. But people say, "What? Oh, why do you gotta call out hoaxers? Because it's freaking dangerous to let shit slide like that. People die sometimes. Now, maybe not from Bigfoot so much, but maybe, I don't know. If Bigfoot had been proven to be a real thing, would that guy in Oklahoma have that whole situation where he shot his friend because he thought Bigfoot, and I don't know, this whole thing? Would that have even happened if Bigfoot was just a known thing? And so who knows? It may that because Bigfoot is thought of as this mysterious thing, maybe that wouldn't have happened the way it happened. But that's just one case, obviously. But in general, a society needs to fight bullshit and lies, because bullshit and lies leads to people dying. It leads to, you being a sensible person who wants to just go to the store and get what you need and not put a mask on your face that has been admitted now that didn't do anything. It never did anything. They lied about that because they want you to wear that Jewish star. That's what that was. Like I said, I'm making parallels with that incident in Germany because they are. We just saw a worldwide genocide right in front of our eyes, and people they didn't have to march people to the camps. They just convinced them to go to freaking parking lots and let people stick needles in their arms. And many of those people are dead now. And who knows how many more are going to die as time goes on, because it could take years for some of them to pass as a result of that stupid needle. That's the danger of letting liars get away with lying. And it's a fucking serious business. So wherever your primary interests are, you find someone lying, you need to stop them. If you're a journalist, you need to attack the liars, and you need to go for the jugular, and you need to make sure it stops. Because these fake journalists, these people that want us to believe they're real journalists, but they lied. They helped contribute to a genocide, and so and it's a real simple thing: journalistic integrity. It's something that must be maintained, and so even if you're someone in that field that does not give a damn that a bunch of people just got murdered. What about, do you care if about your own selfish needs, right? You need people to believe in the news. So, you must maintain journalistic integrity even if you are not a person with integrity. You're a complete piece of shit and a liar. You have to still make sure that everything is verified. You have the real facts. You tell the truth at all times. To maintain the public trust in the media. You guys have lost it. This is why there are freaking YouTubers getting viewed more than CNN. Yeah. So the liars have to be taken down. They should be taken down with ruthless attacks. There's no point in being nice about it. Fuck these fucks. Do not fucking lie. We will come after you and expose you, and we will call you names in the process because fuck you. Don't goddamn lie about this shit. Do not hoax this shit. Fucking Todd Standing, Christopher Noel, Vault of Nightmare. Who else? Some freaking Rick Dyer. You piece of shit. You despicable fucking moron. You're gonna try and hoax again a third time around? You're gonna make a third round of this shit? You lying piece of shit, fucking retard, son of a bitch. He's doing it again. He was trying anyway. I don't know. He might be shut down now. I don't know. Over on the Chinese spy app, TikTok. Mr. Lee says his comment was just removed for some reason. Really? Mr. Lee, let me see. You have a screenshot? I'm seeing if I can see it over on YouTube here. I see you said Donald. There you are. And yeah. Here, let's just put the comments on the screen, shall we? Boom. That's awful big. Hold on. Let's do. How about that? I don't know how it happened, Mr. Lee. I don't know. YouTube's being douche wagons again. Government doesn't want us having a mobile life. I don't imagine they do. I don't imagine they do, Donald. I think they want you in a tiny little. See, because I ran across this. They want you in a tiny house, but not a mobile tiny home like a RV. Like that's. Let me clarify. But and because I've run across this issue in the past, like they always want a physical address for certain things. Like your driver's license. I can't tell them because I tried. You can tell them, so look, I'm a full time RV resident. I don't have a physical address, but they still want one. So the government always wants to be able to find you. They always want to be able to find you. Let me see here. Let me go over and just look at the just look at the chat over here. So where were we here? Already did this part. Government doesn't want us having a mobile life. They want to know where we are 24/7, says Donald. Mr. Lee says, I've taken a screenshot. No worries, douchebag YouTube. Donald says, Mr. Lee, I've missed your premiere. Icon says, Bones, it looks like a long one. I'll watch it later. Didn't miss nothing? Must have patience. Donald says, Mr. Lee, there's only one more day left to the week. Uncle Bone says, Icon, yes, when you sit down tonight, full movie. Donald, it's coming. You can't rush Marvelous. You can't rush Marvelous. So you lied to me about with all this anxiety. What? Hate needles, no sticking me, says Danny. Ruthless ain't here. Yeah, where is Ruthless? Donald says, Lockbeard, I've been watching Biden's new voters pouring in the borders at illegal entrances all week. First responders, media, rocks. Yeah, they're leaving our borders open, and they're also using that as hidden amongst them are Chinese soldiers. It appears fighting age Chinese men. Something's up. Mr. Lee says, "Oops, go away." Mr. Lee says, "Lockbeard, I was talking about nutrition. I will email you the screenshot." What the fuck? Have you emailed it yet? New credit age great. What the hell? It doesn't look like you have. Donald says 80% are fighting age. Yeah. Fighting age. So we're in the middle of an invasion. I also saw actually Icon probably saw this, Ruthless, and whoever else has been over at Ken Wheeler, he was talking about this. Apparently the members of Congress have all been issued satellite phones. And why are they all of a sudden being issued satellite phones? Are they preparing for shit to go down, the communications to go down, for a total clusterfuck situation where cell phones are not going to be able to communicate, but satellite phones will? Or is this another piece of information released just to make us think that something's up, to freak us out? Don't know. But we got to keep our eye on it. Got to keep our eye on it. Well, we've gone over 2 hours. We definitely wandered out of cryptid stuff, and so we probably ought to wrap her up here in a bit. Donald says they afraid they need to hide from us. Yes, they should be afraid, but we need to also never forget that the members of Congress, they have their masters, and we need to find their masters and deal with them. They need to all be arrested. Everyone goes to jail, and never ever gets out. They have done such great evil. Soros and Bill Gates and all these assholes. These are criminal scumbags, and they must be arrested and go to jail for what is left of their ridiculously useless, evil lives. He emailed it to me. Anyways, fuck YouTube. Let me see if I can. It hasn't come through yet. Well, come on. Not seeing it yet, Mr. Lee. Are you sure you got sent? Because I don't see it, Mr. Lee. Well, so I don't know if there's a problem with the internet or what, Mr. Lee. It is not coming through. Donald says, I'll watch from the beginning. Thank you, Lockbird. Thank you, Donald. Google probably blocking mail now, Mr. Lee. Hey, who knows? Maybe they are. Refresh email. Well, usually I don't need to. Usually stuff comes through, but I'm not seeing. I'll try. Nope. It's not there. It's not there. And it's not in the spam folder. It's just not there. No Mr. Lee email. So I'd show you what Mr. Lee had, but who knows? Maybe they Maybe he is being censored. Uncle Bones is shrugging. Donald says, "Did he email the right address?" Well, yeah, Mr. Lee's got me on email speed dial. You should see how many emails Mr. Lee has sent me. It's quite a bit. Oh, there it is. Just popped up. Just popped up. It took long enough, Mr. Lee, but it got here. It got here. Let me see here. See if I can get this pulled up. All right, there we go. Boom. Boom. There it is. Mr. Lee said, "I will never forget some lady nutritionist telling me about my diet. I told her straight up she was full of shit. I couldn't believe the crap coming out of her mouth. Going around telling peeps. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta watch out with cussing, man. YouTube censors the cussing for some reason. I don't know how to make them not do that. Like, I don't care what they say. Say what you want. Raptor, where's Raptor at? Raptor, you can say the R word all you want here. I don't give a shit. As long as YouTube ain't, censoring that word, I don't care. Like, I grew up in where, when I grew up, people made fun of each other calling them retard all the time. It's no big deal. I don't give a fuck. If someone's offended by that, you know, I don't know why. Just whatever. It's we got to stop with this. I'm offended by every damn word thing. Everyone's offended by this word, that word. You said this. That's insensitive to these people. Blah blah blah. You had we talked about the little the midget guy, if I can say that word, or is that like saying the N word, right? Who lost his job because some uppity leftist got all bent out of shape that he was playing a leprechaun at this establishment, that somehow it was offensive. Well, he's the one that's the little person who took the job and wants the damn money. Maybe you should ask him his opinion, or shut the fuck up and mind your goddamn business. Half the time the people getting upset about these far left bullshit, worried about what's offensive to people of color or trans people or anybody. Most of these people are, basically, white liberal women, most of them. The ones that are male might as well be women, because they're a bunch of bitch ass pussies. They're half of them are trying to be women. So whatever. It's retarded. It's stupid. See, the R word just rolls off the tongue, because kids have been calling people that name in many communities, and it's just and if you're getting offended by it, I don't know why. Just relax. Just relax. We got too much of this stuff. People getting offended by every stupid thing, and it has made it. This is why we have this situation now where you can't hardly say stuff. You can't talk on YouTube. We're being censored. This is Nazi stuff, where you're told you can't say that word, you can't say this word, you can't say that word. This is 1984. This is Nazi stuff, and everyone needs to stop contributing to it. I'm telling you right here, as long as YouTube ain't fucking with us for whatever's being said here, I don't give a fuck what you say. Say what you want. But we got to deal with YouTube because YouTube is the Nazis. And we got all these people contributing to this Nazi stuff. Now, I'm sorry if they're offended. No, I'm not sorry. You be offended all you want, but you're the reason why we got Nazis controlling shit right now. People that they're calling people like me Nazis, but they're the ones that are acting like Nazis. They're they're the book burners. They're the ones shutting down accounts. They're the ones taking away your ability to work because you didn't do this thing or that thing. You have to wear your Jewish star. I mean, you have to wear your mask. Same thing. Same goddamn thing. You guys did this to us. And by saying you can't say this word and you can't say that word, stop it. Stop it. You guys have destroyed freedom of expression in our nation. You've destroyed freedom of expression online. YouTube wouldn't get away with this shit if so many people weren't so supportive of it. Everyone needs to rebel against this shit. Every word is free expression. Everyone should support that. I am sick of this shit where I have to say the word jab instead of the V word, or they might shut me down. You know, I can't read an article about someone getting, killed because some of the terminology that's used there is something that the YouTube algorithm is going to censor out and trip a trigger of some kind. Or the other R word, the something that bad men do to women, a very horrendous crime. Well, how do you you're not, they don't like you saying that word. So you can't read an article about that crime happening somewhere without trying to censor every damn word. I see people on YouTube struggling to read regular fucking articles because we got fucks trying to censor every goddamn word. Now, goddamn it, I'm trying to keep my cool about this. But everyone out there needs to goddamn listen to this shit. If you're supporting censorship in any way, you are helping contribute to this stuff. It is your fault. And I'm a freedom-loving American. I want to have my liberties intact. And you people are helping these fuckers, these government corrupt scumbags and these big tech assholes and these rich, powerful, the George Soroses and the Bill Gates and all these dipshit, evil, satanic people. You're helping them do all this shit. You're helping them. Stop it. Stop it. Fucking stop it. We're not censoring any goddamn words because free expression is free expression. And Joe Rogan was right. The best response to bad speech is good speech, or incorrect speech is correct speech. If someone says something that's incorrect, then you go over here and say what's correct and point out that they said something incorrect. But you better goddamn back up your shit with facts. You know, I've been saying medical misinformation for this and that, and all this shit's coming true that what I said for 3 fucking years. So I'm goddamn sick of this shit. It should be free expression, free expression, free expression. Otherwise, you're not a real American. You're supporting these Nazis that have fucked up our society. They've gotten away with murdering millions. And everyone that contributes to that helped kill those people because you supported a Nazi regime. So don't get mad at me because I said this shit. It's goddamn correct. And I think there's millions and millions of people out there that agree with me. And everyone's playing too goddamn nice about this. Playing too goddamn nice about this. My liberty has been violated. The founding fathers would have offed some motherfuckers over this shit. We have been extremely, extremely patient about this bullshit. And it's gone too far. They are targeting our children in the schools because these leftists are turning a blind eye to what the fuck's going on. This isn't about trans rights. That's bullshit. That's a goddamn lie. We have always had trans. Trans are living peacefully with us. There's not a war on trans. They say trans have a right to live. Yeah, they have a right to live. They have been living amongst us. Some of my biological offsprings are fathered by trans people. So I clearly can't have a fucking problem with trans people. What I have a problem with is they're trying to sexualize the kids. They're trying to teach kids how to suck fucking cock at 7 years old in school. They're putting these materials in school. This is a goddamn fact. Go check on it yourself. Fuck. Goddamn bullshit. Drag queens do not belong in a goddamn school. That is a sex worker. That is an erotic thing for adults. There are drag queens that are speaking out against this because they know it's wrong, because they aren't pedophiles. The drag queens that are in the schools are pedophiles. The people that support drag queens in schools are fucking pedophiles or the supporters of pedophiles. You want 7-year-old boys sucking cock. And that's a fucking fact. But this all ties together. These far left extremist nut jobs have fucked up everything, destroyed our liberty. They have maimed countless children, and then they end up regretting it later. They're neutering little boys. They're cutting the tits off of little girls. These people are sick, despicable, evil fucks. Even that Target thing with a tuck-friendly bathing suit bullshit and all that stuff, partnered with a literal Satanist. You guys are supporting a Satanist. This fucking shit ends. It needs to end now. And people are reacting. You got people bitching, oh my gosh, it's just a face on a can. The Bud Light thing. Yeah, well, what about Aunt Jemima's? Y'all were bitching about Aunt Jemima's face on syrup. But at least Aunt Jemima wasn't a pedophile. Dylan Mulvaney, it's a year of girlhood, not womanhood, girlhood. There's a reason for that. This is a pedophile agenda thing. They're targeting children. Dylan Mulvaney is targeting children. We're going to transify the children and turn them into little sexual objects, little confused individuals that are going to look to these pedophiles that say, "Oh, I'm a trans person," but that's not what they really are. Is they're pedophiles. They're not a normal trans person. A normal trans person is not a pedophile. A normal gay person is not a pedophile. A normal lesbian is not a pedophile. Trust me. If you know any of them, you have to know some of them, as I do, that will speak up against pedophilia. That's the reason why Gays Against Groomers exist. These are gay and lesbian and trans people who are against this pedophile agenda. And that's what this shit is. There's no need for a trans movement. Nobody was bothering trans people. When you're an adult, you can do what you want to your body. But these people are trying to maim little children and turn them into confused, little, damaged, sexual toys for them. That's what's going on. And if you're supporting that by being part of this entire far left agenda, and you're defending this bullshit, then maybe you need to look into yourself and ask yourself what the fuck you're doing. Stop thinking you're right, because it's hard for a person to say, well, maybe I'm fucking wrong. Well, I'm telling you, you're goddamn fucking wrong about this matter. That's for damn sure. Are there some people out there that are transphobic? Sure. Are they killing trans people? No. They're leaving them alone. They don't want anything to do with them. Typically, they might poke a little fun at them, but everyone's been made fun of for something, somehow, whatever. Grow a fucking set of balls and just let the words roll off, because they're only goddamn words. Now that I've gone off on a big fucking rant that doesn't belong in LOCKBEARD Phenomena, but whatever. Maybe everybody turned off at 2 hours. Anyway, I don't care what people say here. Hell, at this point, hey, you know, if YouTube isn't gonna kick your ass off for dropping the N-bombs, you know, I mean, I think a lot of people are even over that one. Hell, they call themselves that, you know. And I'm not. I don't feel comfortable using the word. It's not a word I've been a user of, but free speech is free speech. You start censoring words, so you get a very slippery slope, and you end up with shit right now where you can't even read a news article without having to censor every other word. You can't have a conversation. The YouTube algorithm will attack you and take your channel down or take your video down or whatever. This is ridiculous. This is not acceptable. This is un-American bullshit. And the pushback needs to continue. Target is taking a serious financial hit, and they should be driven into bankruptcy by this. Anheuser-Busch as well, driven into bankruptcy. They're not probably, they may not, their offense is not as bad as Target, I think, at this point, but it's bad enough. And I think, weren't they being investigated for targeting children with their advertising because in the opinion of some, it looks like that was a direct targeting of children with alcoholic advertising. All these companies need to go down. Every single company that joined this little agenda, this fake trans movement. It's not a real trans movement. There's no trans movement. There are trans people. There, this are our fellow citizens living normal lives. Anyone that's part of this so-called trans movement is something very dark and very sinister. They're not real trans people. Dylan Mulvaney's an actor. Look into his history. He's an actor, and he's gotten his grift on. He's never going to cut them balls off. How about how you want to bet? Well, I'm not a betting person really, but I bet he never gets that bottom surgery because he's a fake trans person. He's an actor. He's helping them with their agenda. Mr. Lee knows how to email. Yeah, he's an emailing fool. I'm sure Lockbeard. Chessboard's here. Welcome. It always has, Donald. It always has. It's just a lot of people haven't caught on yet because, you know, if people aren't reacting, if people don't tell you, hey, I don't see your, because you still see it there. But yeah, other people don't. And so if they don't tell you and you're not checking to make sure that anybody saw it, then you may not realize that you've been getting censored on a regular basis for using cuss words. Now, sometimes they go through, which is the weird thing. I don't know why they go through sometimes. But what I do know is if you type a $, a hashtag, lowercase L, and an uppercase T, you can type in shit all day long, and the algorithm ain't going to catch it. Let me see if I can find where I was at. In on this part here. Well, it looks like Squatching Cowboy came in on the rant. Here we go. Yeah, Chessboard came in. Mr. Lee. Stop it. Icon, you knucklehead, chessboard. Cussing is, yeah, there's where we're at. Mr. Lee says, Donald, that's how I talk. Icon says, being offended is for women and filtered cigarettes. Exactly. Son of a bitch. The whole damn thing is capital R retarded. Tonight's word is retarded. Fuck you, YouTube, and fuck all the censors out there that want to stop free speech of people that say stuff that you don't agree with. If you don't let people speak that disagree with you, then that proves that you cannot withstand scrutiny, that you are wrong. Squatching Cowboy, welcome. Right in the middle of a crazy ass rant. I tell you what. Donald says, Mr. Lee, I'm the same way. I get censored all the time. I watch my P's and Q's now. Mr. Lee says, I'm from England. Beg my pardon, but every third word is a swear word. Yeah, swear all you want. Some people aren't going to, hey, if they don't want to watch, they don't want to watch. That's cool. That's their choice, though. That's freedom. See, there's this thing. It's called freedom. Lockbeard likes freedom. And when people want to take away my freedom, I get fucking pissed off. Cowboy says Mr. Lee says, Cowboy, I've missed everything. Icon says I farm. The F word is used like a comma on occasion. Indeed. Scotch Cowboy says, I know, Mr. Lee, no excuse this time. Mary's here. Welcome. Says Icon, laughing at your punctuation. Danny says, well, F. I mean, it's weird. Like sometimes they censor it, sometimes they don't. I don't understand. Chessboard says, Lockbeard, PC crap has ruined the world. If a midget tells a 6-foot woman her hair smells nice, it is sexual harassment. Indeed. It's just crazy. It's crazy. They have ruined the world. They have fucked shit up. They have destroyed a lot of our liberty and gotten away with it. They're censoring us on YouTube, and people try to say, YouTube. No, YouTube set up your hot dog cart on the public square, the internet. The internet is the public square. You cannot censor the free expression, the constitutionally protected rights of U.S. citizens on the internet. You cannot do it. If you are going to interact with us on the internet, you have to observe our constitutional rights. You cannot violate them. So either don't do business with people in the United States, so YouTube don't function in the United States, or just fucking stop it. There is pornographic material on YouTube, but you can't say certain words. You can't you can't say certain things about the germ that attacked us all supposedly this last 3 years, even though a lot of the things that I was saying that I got censored for have been proven to be correct, because I was way ahead of a lot of these motherfuckers on this bullshit. Way fucking ahead. Your first clue should be that the government's telling you something and they're lying. They lie all the goddamn time. They don't know how to tell the full truth. They'll tell you a half truth. They'll tell you anything from half truth to lie. Anything that's more than half truth, you're not going to get it from the government usually. Mr. Lee says, Cowboy, it is my 27th anniversary with girlfriend. That is an excuse. Happy anniversary, girlfriend, Mr. Lee. You mean wife? Yeah, she common law, man. Common law. Icon says, good, thanks, enjoying a good rant, so I don't have to. Yeah. Mary says, I am just sitting here nodding yes, Lockbeard. Awesome. Thank you. Reckon Lockbeard speaks as Mr. Lee. Cowboy says, can't wait to meet my daughter-in-law. Icon says, and they did not see that coming. There, I said it. Bad humor alert. Donald says, it sucks, Lockbeard. We'll get a strike for this. You know it's coming. Possibly. Icon says, Divine would have had a canary over what's going on. Mr. Lee says, it's all my fault. Mary says, Divine was funny and kept the humor in the adult sphere. Mr. Lee says, pedo's big problem. You need a big stick. Donald says, I am glad I don't have kids getting exposed to this. Judy said the school in her area has litter boxes for kids now. What the fuck is going on its stick? It's sick. Yeah. And I commented there, and I don't know if that comment went through. Nobody responded because I was there, Donald. And I don't know if you saw, I said, Lockbeard for president. All school employees, administrators, principals, so on and so forth, teachers who facilitated this entertaining this litter box bullshit at school. Every one of them should be fired, banned from working for schools ever again, because they are clearly completely incompetent, and they must all submit for psychological evaluation. If you put a fucking litter box in a school bathroom, you are suspected to be retarded. Fucking retarded. Mentally dysfunctional. Absolutely ridiculous bullshit. If a little kid says, I'm a cat and I need a litter box, I'm going to say, fuck you, use the toilet or get the fuck home. Tell your mother or your father or whatever crazy person is letting you act like this at home to stop being a moron and raise you right and send you back ready to use a fucking toilet like a human being. Or fuck off and get homeschooled. But we're not entertaining this bullshit. Icon says Divine also could, son of a bitch, shouldn't have clicked that. Divine also could tell the difference between person and persona. The little box thing is a bridge too far. The litter box. Angel says, Donald, they are brainwashing our children in the schools, normalizing not normal behavior. Exactly. They are training the kids to be crazy and to accept insane shit. So when the government comes at them with even more insane shit, it'll be easier for them to accept it. So they don't want people that think like us, that say, look, the government wants to jab a needle in my arm. They're saying this is a V word, but it's not a V word. It does not. The definition of the VACCINATION word, the definition of that, this thing does not fit that definition. They're trying to change the definition of that, and they're injecting something in your arm that has killed people. Thousands upon thousands of people have died from this thing, and they're trying to get people to think, oh, this is normal. They're dying from other stuff. A lot of it's not being documented. It's coming from the needle that they gave you. They committed a genocide here, and that's the goddamn fact, and it's come out, and it's the truth, and I don't know, what more it's going to take to get people to straighten to realize what's going on. See, this is where I was at. Here it was. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, that is why I watch your channel. You speak your mind. Also, I consider you as a friend. You too, Mr. Lee. Donald says it's effed up. Chessboard says Catholic Church sexual abuse in Illinois was documented by state investigators, reported a few days ago, and not a damn thing was done. Yeah. Yeah, that place is pretty much run by pedos. Pretty much run by pedos. Donald says Biden loves his leg hair played with by kids, and people voted for him. Yeah, Man, there was all kinds of messed up about that video. The kids, I like kids sitting on my lap. And he said, what did he say? He said, I learned a lot about roaches. He's talking about little black kids, and he called them roaches. And people are just like, but Biden's for black people. No, he's not. And a lot of black citizens are figuring this out. They're not going to vote for Biden. They're not going to vote for Democrat anymore. So many of them have said, "Oh, no, wait a minute, something's not right here." That you know, you can only pull the wool over people's eyes so much. Obama can only bribe you with so many Obama phones before you figure out, oh, this guy's he's just giving me shit to shut me the fuck up and get me to vote for him. He's not actually working for me. He's working against me. Chessboard says Disney has done it for years and people still flock there. Yeah, a lot of them have, but now Disney's under attack. One good thing that DeSantis is doing is taking away the sweet deal that Disney had. They're trying to claim that they're under, that something bad's happening. No, they've had special privileges in Florida, and DeSantis took away those special privileges. They should have never had those special privileges that gave them a competitive advantage over other businesses that didn't have those same advantages. It's not fair. It's un-American. It should never happen. Disney can fuck off. And Disney's been producing nothing but garbage anyway. And now this whole thing, like with the Kathleen Kennedy dumb shit, where they didn't tell her they were canceling her show and stuff, and anyway, it's too little, too late. Disney, everyone freaking hates you now. That's got half a brain in their head that's paying attention at all. They don't want your shit. We want Disney to go down in flames. It deserves to go down in flames. You're completely infected with evil, despicable people who push this woke agenda nonsense of just ridiculous bullshit and ruined all of these franchises. You just ruined everything. This Little Mermaid thing is just the most recent embarrassingly stupid shit. I mean, it's ridiculous. I sure shit ain't watching it. I watched spoiler reviews and synopses and saw some clips and stuff like that. And holy shit, it's absolutely horrid. It didn't need to be done. And you guys keep doing this race swapping thing. If we replaced Black Panther with a white actor, people would lose their goddamn mind. But they keep replacing one traditionally white character after another over and over and over again. They keep doing it. They're blackwashing, right? You talk about whitewashing, they're blackwashing. They're getting rid of white characters. So, there is an attack on white people. This is racism against white people is what this is. Straight up. And if white people say anything about it, they'll say, "Oh, you're a racist," and blah blah blah. And no, I'm a fucking realist. I don't give a fuck what color you are. But if you attack me because of my color and because I'm a straight white male, well, y'all fucking attack. That's what y'all attacking. You're attacking straight white males in different ways. And you don't like us because we are the dominant individuals in society. You don't want us to be dominant. You want to be dominant over us. And you can't be because you're all a bunch of goddamn, dickless pussies for the most part. You can't think, you're not strong, you're pathetic, ridiculous people, and you will never ever be dominant over a real male in human society. So yeah. So Disney, you're too little, too late, not to be saved. Disney should be boycotted into non-existence. Good riddance. You destroying Star Wars alone should be a death sentence for Disney. Goodbye, Disney. I hope you sue the shit out of Kathleen Kennedy because she did this shit on purpose. She sat there at that table. We also, well, maybe not everybody here saw the video. I think I showed it one time where she sat there and looked George Lucas right in the eye and lied to him. That bitch is a lying ass cunt. Her name should be Kathleen Kennedy the cunt. And we'll just go ahead and spell the cunt with the K, and we'll just call her KKK. Kathleen Kennedy cunt. Because she's a absolutely despicable human being. Yeah, screw Disney. Fuck Disney. Fuck Disney. Icon says retarded is usually my word of the day, and I talk to myself all the time. Mr. Lee says many peeps called me a retard. I'm a certified genius. Just saying, retards. Donald says, we know, Mr. Lee, you have to be hanging out with Tom Cruise. This is a new channel, Downey, DJ Wrestling. I can't keep up with Danny's got so many channels. I don't even know how in the hell I it's crazy. The icon says, Mr. Lee, you going to see Iron Maiden this summer? Donald says, had to be censored, Lockbeard. What had to be censored? Icon says, Mr. Lee says, Icon, I will consider. Chessboard said, Lockbeard, it's all corporate run. Porn sites up the yin yang, movies with queers, gays, but you cannot express yourself. Yeah. And it's just, they're acting like they're trying to convince everybody that all this racism and homophobia and transphobia is a real thing, that it's a rampant thing. It just isn't. Most people don't give a shit. And it pisses them off because you got this leftist retard, this moron that'll sit here and they want to get all triggered, right? They're triggered. If you're triggered, you're a weak piece of shit, by the way. Triggering is that's stupid. Fuck you. You shut your triggered up bullshit at. Shut up. Just shut the fuck up. Triggered. Fucking trigger. Anyway, they want to go off on you. They so desire to have a big fucking thing and go off on you, and it doesn't work because we do not. They want to they want to make a big issue with you about some kind of thing, like, trans rights, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I seriously, and you tell them, I don't, I'm not doing anything to oppress trans people. I just want to go about my life and mind my own business, and I'm not going to bother no trans people in my daily activities. I'm not going to mess with them, right? And I hope that they live a good life, and they're happy, and they prosper, and they're happy, and they go about their business, and they don't bother me too, and that's all I really want. But then these people get triggered by that because, no, you need to be all up in arms like me about this stuff. No, actually I don't. I can go about my life and not be all triggered by this far left agenda that I need to be upset because trans people this, trans people that, and because we entertained this behavior for so long, it's just gotten worse and more ridiculous over time. All of it does. They keep pushing it because if you give an inch, they take a mile, right? So like Roe v. Wade was a really good example. You gave an inch, right? You gave it the Supreme Court, society, our society as a whole, American society specifically, for those people overseas. Roe v. Wade was a Supreme Court decision that basically made it legal for was it 1970? I can't remember the year. Made it legal in all of the United States that made abortion legal. Okay, the left got their victory there. They were now pretty much people who there even if there was no threat to the mother's life and the child was normal, but the mother simply did not want this baby, it gave her the right to murder an unborn American citizen, murder a baby in the womb for no reason at all. She just simply don't want it. And that's where the inch was given, but they weren't happy with it, because then there are the particulars. Well, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, partial birth abortions, where the baby is allowed to poke its head out, get a good quick look at the world that's not going to be allowed to live in, and then they scramble its fucking brains. That's where they took the mile. They were trying to take the mile. Because you gave the inch, they then tried to take the mile. If the left was smart, they would have considered Roe v. Wade a victory. Said, look, abortions during the first trimester is reasonable, and we'll take that as a victory and call it good. No, they had to keep pushing and keep pushing, and then look what happened. Roe v. Wade got overturned. Got overturned because the left kept pushing. And they got ridiculous. Partial birth abortion was absolutely a ridiculous thing to ask for, and you guys did it to yourselves. Donald says, I never saw it on Joe's chat. Shit, the damn thing jumped on me. Where was I at? Yeah, I'm trying to get the light going here. There we go. Donald says, never saw it on Joe's chat. Yeah, they must have censored it out then, Donald. Icon says, Mr. Lee, the set list is a blend of new Senjutsu and somewhere in time. Also, I think parents need to lose that right. Icon says, Icon C says, girlfriend, big fan, running the hills, blah, blah, blah. Donald says, I think it's time for Max Exodus to rumble. I got eye shine now, do I? Icon says, dang it, I want to go out and shoot some pics tomorrow. I don't know what to use for film. Donald says he's got his voters pouring in the borders every day. Icon says, Mr. Lee, I suppose Iron Maiden is a bit passe for an Englishman. Mr. Lee says, Icon, if I had space, I would tell some stories. Donald says, you are a Nazi if you don't accept a date from a trans now. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Or if you turn down an overweight woman because you're not attracted to overweight women, you're fat phobic. Well, whatever, fuck off. If I'm not attracted, I'm not attracted. Now if a woman turns down a man for the same reason, it's perfectly fine. Just absolutely ridiculous things that they're asking us to accept. They're not asking, they're demanding us to accept. No, fuck off. Fuck off. Can you tell? Like, I'm a moderate on some stuff. Like, look, it ain't like I'm some kind of hardcore like conservative on everything. I'm conservative where it's appropriate and where it's a freedom issue. I'm a libertarian. So that means I think you should own any kind of weapon that you want, and you don't need a goddamn permit or anything else. The Second Amendment of the Constitution covers this. It is a right. You can own any kind of weapon you want, period. And the government doesn't need to know. They don't need to give you a permit. They don't need anything from you. You're a citizen in in the United States. You get to own a gun, a tank, a fighter jet, a missile. I don't care. If the government has it, you should be able to have it. if you can afford it, obviously, because the primary purpose for the Second Amendment is to be able to defend yourself from a tyrannical federal government. But I also think, so that's considered to be, a lot of people would call that extremely far right. I don't think it's extremely far right. I think it's just a sensible, normal interpretation of the Second Amendment, and most people are just way behind me on this shit. But again, as freedom. Now, the other another one that would be considered lefty, right, is I believe that all drugs should be legalized. Why? Freedom. That's why. You're free to do to your body whatever the fuck you want. Do I think you should? No, but that's your business. As long as you ain't messing with me, you can go, you know, use whatever the hell you want. I don't care. Why the hell is the government involved with this? It's none of their damn business. And most people would call that an extreme leftist ideology. So if I'm extreme right on guns and extreme left on drugs, how does this exist in the same person, right? Exist in the same person, because that's freedom and I am about freedom. And both sides want to oppress certain freedoms. They just oppress different ones. It's set up like that on purpose, so that there isn't one good choice. There's a choice that has a mix of good and bad to it, and another choice that has a different mix of good and bad, and you have to choose some bad, whichever way you choose. They don't want you to have that really good position of the libertarian. The libertarian is all about freedom. Use all the drugs you want, have all the guns you want, say anything you want. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Worship the sun, worship a rock, worship God, worship Satan, worship Allah, worship the flying spaghetti monster. I don't care. Just do not fuck with me. Leave me alone. You do what you want, but leave me alone, and I will do what I want. Icon says, Mr. Lee, anytime you get a chance, I'd love to hear it. If you ever feel up to it, we could chat about it on WTF. Would be great to trade some history with you. Yeah, it's a cricket, Mr. Lee. Icon says, no, I don't mind talking about it. Chessboard says, Lockbeard, years ago, the Pirates of the Caribbean chased some women around at Disney because of PC shit. They took those animated characters out. Don says, uh-oh, did Locke get the banhammer? Did I? I thought I was still on. Farmer John, Ruthless says, just popped in to give the news about debt ceiling agreement. Now they all got to vote on it. Oh, shit. How you be, matey? Says Icon. Donald says, my phone censored Lockbeard. I had to reboot. Oh, is that what it was? Dang, the chat jumped on me again. Ruthless says, Icon, no, thinking about baking. Come back to Scientology immediately. Tom Cruise says to Ruthless. Ruthless says, Lockie looks FAF and dark. Whatever. Donald says, hey, Ruthless. Ruthless thinking about getting baked too. Tom, get back in the closet. Chessboard says debt ceiling and the default is all bullshit, smoke and mirrors. Yeah. Nightmare hook in. Maiden is off on tour again. Ruthless says Iron Man, Harden May. Damn it. I can't talk. Hold on. Iron Maiden, Hawkwind, and Budgie. Mr. Lee says he likes big girls. Just saying. Bird farts and Budgie rock. What the hell is that? No, never a big fan of Iron Maiden. Yeah, I never was a big fan of Iron Maiden either. KMFDM still tears. That helps. Ruthless says, but I want to be a boy. I don't want to lactate milk with medication. Yeah, yeah. That was and it's on camera too. That guy who took hormones to make himself lactate and then fed it to a baby. Yeah, that's child abuse. Um, you don't get to do that, you ridiculous fucking moron. I don't care if you are trans, you're a goddamn retard. You do not feed kids milk out of a man's tit that was forced to lactate because you were given a bunch of hormones. Now that's going from the milk into the kid. You are abusing that child. You should not be allowed around that child anymore. I'm sorry, you don't get to keep the kid. Sometimes you got to step in and protect the little citizen from a crazy fuck who thinks they are being a good parent when they're being a crazy person. A crazy person. You do not give. It's not the same as a normal mother's milk either. It's not the same. Chessboard says Donald Feinstein said veterans coming back from the war should not be allowed to buy a gun, but it was okay for her to send them to get limbs and other body parts blown off. Six bastards. Feinstein can kiss my goddamn ass. What kind of evil, despicable piece of shit, un-American scumbag would say that? Oh, because you come back from you served your nation in war. But so now you lose your Second Amendment rights somehow. How does that work? How the hell does that work? You don't lose your Second Amendment rights. These people are the ones that are going to be able to help us destroy the corrupt tyrannical government one day. We need them. We need them armed and we need them ready. They're the ones with the training. See, they are afraid of the military men because they know they've done wrong. They know they're corrupt. They know they're evil and they must be removed. The founding fathers would remove them from power. And the founding fathers would not have played around. Ridiculous. That bitch ass ruthless to be me got message Scotty Richie Havens freedom. Can I get a raw man? Flying spaghetti monster. Worship Mr. Lee 3PO. Donald says, sir. Man, what? Worship Mr. Lee 3PO. Whoa, Richie Havens. You're still here? Yeah, I'm still here. I was going to shut down, but then I went on a rant and some shit's pissing me off. Raptor says, hello everyone in chat. Hope you're doing good. Didn't even know Lockbeard was on tonight. No notification. Yeah, Raptor, you missed the big rant. When it comes to the R word, you can say retard all you want here. Retard, fucking retard. Freedom of speech, fuck off. Every time someone says they want to censor a goddamn word, you should say it 3 more times just because they fucking thought that it was okay to tell you can't say a word. Now, people now. I don't want to attack too hard on because if someone's got a channel and they say, "Hey, look, in my chat, I don't want to see it," that's fine. But that general idea contributes to the censorship mentality in our society. I want people to say words that I don't like. I don't know if there's a word I really don't like, but well, like the N word. Like I don't. It's a word that I don't use. It's not. I don't feel comfortable using it. I would rather people didn't use it in my chat, but if you use it, I will be happy that you have the freedom to say whatever you want. I want free expression to exist, because without a free expression, we end up with Nazi America. We end up with a genocide across the globe that we just had right in front of us by needle. And half the people out here still don't know what's going on because of censorship of free expression. We weren't allowed to tell people, hey, the media is lying, the government is lying. Some paid shills, some paid off doctors, Dr. Fauci, all lied, and they spooked you into willingly marching to get your lethal injection. That happened because of people that believe in Nazi censorship. Because I don't like a word, we need to censor that word. No, 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 no. If you don't like a word, say, hey, I don't fucking like that word. And that person can, if that person respects you, you know, which you got to earn respect. You don't just get respect. A lot of cops think, oh, I got a badge on, you respect me. No, fuck you. You earn respect. A lot of cops have earned disrespect. That's why people are pissed off at a lot of cops right now. Not all of them, but there's a lot of corrupt fucking cops. But if that person respects you, they may choose to not use that word around you if it's not too difficult for them. Some people are just used to dropping F-bombs all day, and if you're offended by an F-bomb, you know, you may just have to accept that that person drops F-bombs, and it's just hard, you know, they're just used to saying it all the time. It's their way they are. So you got to accept it. You got to accept that other people have a mouth that they're free to say whatever words they want with that mouth. And, you know, if you don't want to be around what they say, then maybe you just don't hang out with them or whatever. But that's your choice. That's where your choice comes in. But you do not get to demand other people don't say words you don't like. You don't get to do that. Not in a free country. If you want to live in a totalitarian Nazi country, go find one. I'm sure you'll find one that'll meet your liking, but that's not going to be America. And that's why people are pushing back right now. That's why that Dylan Mulvaney thing was a straw that broke the camel's back. You know, on the surface, it seems like if you just take it in isolation, it's this little thing, but it's not. It's a straw that broke the camel's back. There's a whole bunch of shit that built up to that point, and now people who were going to bars and having their beer, and you know, where you typically most people they just don't talk politics and religion in the bar, and they don't want to. And suddenly, the company that makes the beer that they're holding has decided to get involved in some goddamn politics. You basically forced politics into their psyche, and they took it as an attack, and they should have. And Anheuser-Busch deserves to go fucking bankrupt over this bullshit. You should have never done it. And they still haven't apologized or admitted that they were wrong to even go down that route. They still haven't done it. Totally out of touch with their customers. Ridiculous. Anyway, say retard all you want, Raptor. Type it 100 times. I don't give a fuck. Hang on here. You haven't heard of them? Talking to Ruthless. Lock knows how to get the blood flowing. Raptor Crazy. Every Saturday. Hey, Raptor Crazy. Lockbeard on it. Yeah, Raptor. Every Saturday. Every Saturday at 6 p.m. Central. Chessword, yes. And her spy limo driver. Raptor says, which Lee? Yes, I know. I didn't get it notified. Yeah, YouTube you can't rely on YouTube's notification, man. YouTube doesn't notify shit. Closing your ears. What are you closing your ears for, Mr. Lee? Ruthless says icon, just like I never heard of the GHEL model you just uploaded. Chessboard says, Uncle Bones, you never heard any more about that, did you? I saw the government. Oh, son of a bitch. I hate the way this chat does. Governor of California wanted to put Fat Opry in her place if she quits the Senate. What? I'm not sure what I read there. No soy notification is working properly. So my notifications working. 100% just uploaded a second ago, says Icon. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, your father's still alive. You don't have to answer. No, he's not. Icon says, Ruthless, did you get a hold of Scotty? Ruthless says, Icon, no, he's about to leave Depot. Donald says, they wanted me on Mary J, but Vermont takes your guns away, gun rights away. So I told my doctor, no freaking way. Yeah, isn't it? So if you accepted marijuana as a medication, you're not allowed to have gun rights. Is that what you're saying there? That's ridiculous. You have a right to weed and guns. Also, they keep telling people the government ain't going to legalize it until they take our guns away. No two ways about it. What's sorghum, or is it a place? Mr. Lee says, is it better to have a gun or no gun? Mr. Lee, it's better to have lots of guns. All the guns. I mean, Mr. Lee, hold on a second. There's an appropriate video for this in my little clip.
Man, Bert, you put a whole new shine on the word overkill.
When you need it and don't have it, you sing a different tune.
Yeah. Man, Bert, you put a whole new shine on the word overkill.
When you need it and don't have it, you sing a different tune.
Yeah.
Hopefully that clears this up, Mr. Lee. Yeah. When you need it and you don't have it, you'll sing a different tune. People say, oh, if you got a problem, call the cops. Yeah, the cops don't get there until you're already fucking dead. The crime's been over for 20 minutes by the time the cops get there. Sometimes the crime's been over for days by the time the cops get there. The only way to truly be able to protect yourself from a lot more crime is to be armed, so that when someone fucks with you, you can goddamn destroy them. You have a right to destroy them. Like those assholes that are going into people's houses because they think it's a prank over there. I think they're over there. Aren't they over there where you're at, Mr. Lee? Yeah. Yeah. Do that in the United States, man. You're going to be a dead motherfucker. And you deserve it, too. You don't just walk into someone's fucking house. What the fuck do you want, cat? Can y'all hear that cat? Meow. What are you doing? What? It's being awful vocal. What's the deal? What? Why don't you come up here and show your face? You vicious beast. He's not going to cut. He don't ever want to come up. He just likes to go down here and rub on the side of the thing, and he wants me to come out and pet him. Now, fuck you. Go kill a rat. You can come up in here if you want, but yeah, it's always better to have a gun, Mr. Lee. It's always better. And lots of ammunition. Icon says sorghum is a forage that's closely related to corn. It's also used for its sugars, kind of like sugar cane. If and whilst you can, have gun rule travel. Yeah. Like walking agricultural encyclopedia. Ruthless bullets are hard to come by, says Mr. Lee. Yeah. Yeah. The government disarms you because they know that they're doing something wrong that they probably deserve to be dealt with. I mean, they're murdering people, man. They're murdering people. Straight up. So will away. Chessboard says Donald ran across the Supreme Court ruling Thursday. Watch it ran across Supreme Court ruling. Local pub. Chance there, not like here. Y'all have a chance here, not like here. Initially, if I could source one, I'd have one. Icon says Ruthless is hard to say what the future holds for ag in the U.S. No, you all things farming, baking, photography, old cars, music, more. You has life. Donald says yes, Lockbeard. Yes to what? I'm not sure what you're saying yes about. Ruthless says Icon. No, some states will split from the united part, become little countries, I suspect. Icon says weed and guns and bitches. Oh yeah. Well, weed and guns. Ah, fuck it, just a weed. Mr. Lee says Tremors, fantastic movie. Yeah. Have you watched the other Tremors movies? They're not all that bad. Like, the second and third one. But Burt Gummer is the best character, I think, in that movie franchise, and he's right. Maybe it's a once in a lifetime incident where something happens where you need a gun, and that could be the end of your life if you don't have that gun. So yes, always better to have a gun. Always better to have 2 guns instead of 1 gun. Always better to have 3 guns instead of 2 guns. The more, the better. Because America. And because one day you might need that gun to defend your life or the life of your family, or even an innocent stranger. Icon says, Ruthless, it would be cool to see. Don't know if I have in my lifetime. Ruthless says, USA going back to how it was in the Old West. If only. Mr. Lee says, the Peeps fuck with me, they will get headbutt. Well, yeah, the headbutt is all powerful. Ruthless says, Icon, no, Florida seem to be heading in that direction. Donald says, it's got dinner for you. Hey, that cat, like, it's a good hunter. Like, it takes out rats all the time, man. Chessboards, where'd it go? Chessboard says, Locke, they're saying if Einstein quits, Newsom wants to put fat Oprah in her place. Yeah, screw all of them. Icon says, that's cats for you. Ruthless says, got a bail. Sister just showed up. Cool. Icon says, Ruthless, look up the state of Jefferson. They should be the first ones to get their own statehood. Gotta fly. See you, Ruthless. Danny says, why is it I can listen to you for hours, no problem, but that guy named Leon gives me a migraine in 30 minutes? I don't know. I don't know. Raptor says that Ruthless, have a good one, be safe. Donald says, yes, about them taking our gun rights to have the Mary J card. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Yeah, you should be able to have your weed and your guns and your whores and whatever else. Freedom, freedom, and freedom. Mr. Lee says, for example, if someone started a fight with me, I end with headbutt, no gun needed. Mary Wilson says, you don't like Leon at Danny? He is the only reason that I ever listened to those other channels. Danny says, I like Leon. His voice just gives me a headache. Donald says, hey, you see, Locke, look for the rat. Now, that cat wouldn't share a rat with me. He eats those things. Crunch, crunch, meow. He eats those rats. He feeds himself a lot of the time out here. Raptor says, Danny, take 2 aspirin and drink a beer. Helps me a little bit. Danny says, whenever Leon or Jay Fritz start talking, it's time for weed and rum. Yeah. All right. Well, we went way off the normal subject matter, and we went way over time. But here we are. Hopefully, we don't get band hammered. But who knows? Who knows? Let me get that one off. Boom. It's always time for rum, says Mary. Donald says, now I got to watch a longer show. Yeah, I guess so. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard every day. Yeah. Danny says, been blitzed all day. Thank you again, Lockbeard, says Donald Fuller. Yeah. Yeah, if anybody else wants to be on the email list, I don't know if it's helping anybody or not. You know, try to rustle up some subscribers. Need to get the channel growing again. Anybody that wants to help out with the tip jar would be mighty thankful if you sent it over with PayPal. Because the bees didn't provide any income today, that's for damn sure. I thought for sure I'd be able to sell at least one, but no dice. Icon says it's been a good show. Thanks. Thank you, Icon. So let's get the hell out of here, I guess. Where's that cat at? I got a video for you, cat. Here's a video.
I like to fuck my cat.
That fucking cat just ran away, man. Donald says, I can't use any Cash Apps, Locky. I'm locked out of them. Oh, yeah, they censor everybody, man. Man, I got PayPal and Cash App. Can't use them Cash App. Chesper says, thanks, Lock, for getting the old blood flow and have a wonderful weekend. Oh, you too, man. Mary says, good show, Lockbeard. Thank you, Mary. Thanks for coming. Where's that fucking cat? Come here. All right, y'all. Take it easy. See you next time.